got me caught up. Yeah, you got me caught up. I don't wanna rush. But I don't wanna rush. Boy, you got me caught up. Yeah, you got me caught up.
I give in to the lesser fight. My body aches to be satisfied. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. I'm reaching out for the easy high. Please fortify this strength of mine. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. My body aches to be satisfied. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. I'm reaching out for the easy high. Please fortify this strength of mine. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. echoes in my soul. Oh, it echoes in my soul. My weakness comes and goes, it goes, it goes. I ever think, 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 I ever think way too much. I overthink too much. My therapist says it's my crutch. I asked my mom.
Hello and welcome everyone as we are about to embark on the grand finals match. I am so excited for this match. Today I have here with me Hucky, one of the fantastic people that I have been having the pleasure to cast with today. And as we transition over, we have a surprise for you guys. Hey, we're here. And unfortunately, you don't get to see us for very long as the teams have already ship-shaped into draft. But we do want to say we appreciate everybody coming out. And you'll see more of us later on in the day. Yeah, cameras. But we do have the draft shifting over, and they've already got into some of the picks and bans. It looks like Rakan and Mordekaiser are coming off the board. No way they're letting those through, and honestly, I understand why. Mordekaiser was so oppressive yesterday. It's just hard to see. Tucker, what is your take on the ban so far, and how do you think these games are gonna pan out?
For Froggy Style, I think the bans, I expected a Twitch ban. I expected a Mordekaiser ban. Too Hard and Nico Pay are both very comfortable on both of those picks. So I'm not surprised to see that banned, especially the Twitch. It's been a ban we've seen all throughout the playoffs when going against ISM because Nico Pay just executes it so well. I also do like the Rakan ban from ISM. It's just a character with just such quick engage. I think overall the bans are pretty good on each side. I'm excited to see where they go in the draft.
Now, this is something I want to point out. ISM had a support Ripper is not able to show up for today's match. So Hydrus, who's normally the jungler that we've seen play so well over the tournament, or over the playoffs rather, is actually swapped to support for today. I do believe that's where that's going. So
Now,
it's going to be a little different from what we've normally been seeing.
yeah, in the interview yesterday from that amazing series he played, he told us that he was capable of playing any role on nearly any character. So, and I believe Packen said that as well. So, I'm expecting good things from Hydra Spot Lane. We'll see. Hopefully, the person who's subbing in for Jungle can fill his shoes because he did such a good job. Hydras has been probably the most consistently dominant player out of the playoffs, in my opinion, that we've seen. So I'm excited to see how he does in the support role.
Yeah, I am just excited. We had a Blitzcrank locked in. Shield basically told me that he was excited for this matchup earlier today, and I felt like there was a winky face implied by that. And this definitely is a winky face. I mean, it's obviously a nod to me, you know. Blitzcrank, best Blitzcrank NA right here sitting at the desk, and I'm just so excited we get to see this played out by one of my favorite supports in the league. Wrapping up the first round of picks, we have Jinx, Lulu, and Trundle for ISM, and we have Kaisa, Blitzcrank, and Wukong for FSM. And I'm liking where the drafts are going so far.
Yeah, I know. Like when we saw the Silas or Pack and choose the Silas yesterday, I knew you were gonna enjoy it as soon as I saw Blitzcrank locked in. It's a very fun champion to watch. He's got so much potential early, so much pick potential late. He's just one of those characters that like he can basically win you the game with one ability. With his, if he lands good cues, then he can pick anybody in the game, and that can lead to them snowballing. But also, if you don't land those cues, the champion can't be extremely useful. So it's really up to Shield to pilot this Blitzcrank correctly. I'm excited to see it. Definitely a very interesting support pick when we're used to like all enchanters in the meta. So I'm happy to see him here.
Yeah, definitely excited to see that play out. As we do get the second rounds of bans, we have Aatrox, Fled, Shin, and Ornn taken off the board. So a lot of targets towards top lane. It seems like mid lane is less of a focal point right now. And grantly so, because we saw Too Hard perform very well yesterday. And we also know that Fuse has been pretty big ego-wise on talking about his performances and how he should be touted as the #1 top laner in the league. And through the playoffs, I got to say, Too Hard has been that guy for me. He's just absolutely showed out. Even in losing matchups, he's found a way to, win and procure a lead for his top side of the map for ISM. And I'm very, very much looking forward to this top lane. And now it looks like they're giving Froggy Style the counterpick top lane so they can get counterpick mid lane. And we're going to have a very, very nice top lane matchup. Fiora into Camille. This is one of the premier carry top lane matchups that we can see. And it's going to be Fuse on the Fiora and Too Hard on the Camille. So the gauntlet was thrown both ways. And even though the Corki nerfs did come through, it looks like he might just be our lock in here in mid for Baruka King. And it does look that way.
Yeah, Too Hard is one of those people throughout the playoffs we've seen that if he gets a leading lane, he exploits it very well and he pushes his advantage. And if he gets behind, he just builds tank, builds redemption, plays for his team. He does exactly what you expect top laner to do. So on a Camille here, you might not be able to do that as well because you're a bruiser rather than a tank. So I'm interested to see this matchup. Camille Fiora is going to be tough for Camille if Fiora can land the repost or W. But overall, I'm liking these comps. So I'm excited to see game one.
Okay. I think overall, this is going to be pretty much the standard ISM draft. I mean, Hacken playing one another signature pick of his on the Anivia. We've seen him pull this out in the playoffs before. Saw him pull it out in the regular season as well. And on the opposite side there, we have a lot of agency for the members of Froggy Style Moon. But as we transition over, who do you have winning this game?
Oh man, This is tough because I really do like both comps. I think they both have potential to win. But for this first game, I'm going to go with ISM. I do love the Anivia mid lane. I love Packen. I think he's a great player. He plays around his jungler very well. Granted, we don't have Hydras in the jungle this time, so that could be interesting. They've been really good on the Jinx Lulu. We've seen Nico Pay play Jinx really well in the last series, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that again in this series. It's really going to be up to Froggy Style to shut down that bot lane, not let them scale. Because if Jinx gets scaled up, I think no one can really stop her. I know they have a Kaisa on Froggy Style to kind of secure the late game, but we'll see. But for right now, I have ISM.
ISM, I think I'm going to have to go against you here. I think Froggy Style has a lot more
I knew you
agency
would.
in the game. I think that the ability to be able to have the catch-out potential or the full engage when you see Kaisa diving into the backline after Corki package, or even Wukong threading the needle and, wandering blindly into the backline with his invisibility and then getting on a squishy target like a Nivea or Jinx or Lulu in this situation will spell well for their team. But as we wait out this delay, I will say we are here to see what the audience has to say, and we will have a poll going up just shortly. We're gonna throw it to a break while everything gets situated with the game, but we hope that you stick here with us and enjoy Game 1 of Froggy Style Moon versus Insomnia coming up soon. Welcome back. We did have that tantalizing music, and as we look here, we are going to get into game very shortly. It looks like ISM on this red side here will take a lot of space in this top side jungle. I believe they were guesstimating a gank here or some sort of invade, but looks like nothing's doing. With all that being said, how do you like the summoner spells, runes, and everything about that, Tucker?
Well, I mean, I think FS or ISM is definitely going to expect a game because they are a gank because they have the Blitzcrank. But as far as summoner spells and runes go, everything looks relatively standard. You know, the Nivea is running Electrocute. She's going to be pretty bursty. I'm not familiar with what if that's what the champion normally runs. I think it is right now. Um, Something strange is Nico Pay has the exhaust and Hydra's has the heal. I don't know if that's just because they prefer the Lulu with the heal. Maybe she plans on roaming so the heal can be a little more effective, and exhaust is just a good rune to save you from some of that dive the Wukong might have. But overall, everything looks pretty standard. I like what I'm seeing from both comps. I'm excited to get into this game.
I am excited as well, and I think the focus for this game is going to be around this bot lane. I do believe jungle should get into the mix here in mid, but I think with the playmaking potential of the Blitzcrank, I wouldn't be surprised if we catch first blood here soon.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised either. And as we already see, Shield's 1-for-1 on the hooks. I think that's exactly what they're going to be looking for bot lane. They know Jinx Lulu isn't strong early, and Blitzcrank is just such a good character early game, so they're going to be looking for some of those free hooks. Hopefully they're able to exploit them while they're weak, because if Jinx and Lulu end up getting ahead, that can bode a lot worse for them in the late game. So we'll see how they do.
Yeah, the level 2 for the Blitzcrank, very powerful. But now as we look up towards the top side, it's going to be too hard trying to keep this Mark away from the Fiora. Knowing that Fiora can get on top of you and sort of deal this extra amount of damage like that, you want to just reset it back off and maybe have it tick to a different side of you so it's much harder to hit. But even then, it's still very very worrisome, because Fiora can chain that into more attacks, and when she hits level 3, a lot of kill pressure in that lane. And another hook lands onto the Lulu, but Trundle is down here. Blitzcrank taking a lot of damage. He is polymorphed. The Menace Shield pops, but I don't think it's going to be enough as Nicope picks up first blood, and the aggression that comes out of the Blitzcrank is easily taken away. He does save the the flash on his character, so he will be still having that playmaking potential or get out of jail free card next time. But at least the first blood going over to Jinx is a good way to start for ISM.
Yeah, and I think it was pretty smart not burning your flash there. His W, I'm pretty sure, was already on the back half where he was slowed, so he doesn't really have a way out. Even if he flashes, he probably just dies through his flash. So just overall, just good proactivity through from ISM's jungler.
And now it seems like they're gonna burn the flash out of too hard. No flash expended on the side of FSM. So a pretty good gank top side. You want to revisit that, maybe see if you can get a kill next time around. And it looks like Smurfdon will immediately. The flash forward from Fuse, and then the immediate follow-up by Smurfdon. Gonna net them a return kill here, and things are all evened up at the 4-minute mark.
Yeah, and I mean, top laner without flash is one of the freest ganks for a jungler. The lane is just so long, so easy to kill a top laner 2v1 if they don't have their F. Well played by Smurfdon. Very smart to basically just reroute it. I'm surprised that Too Hard actually just walked back up. Hopefully, with his flash and TP down now, he's going to play a little safer so he doesn't maybe get ganked again. But we'll see.
Looks like safe is not in his name. He does have the Trundle shadowing him, and I think Fuse is privy to this information as he's going to decide to maybe back off here, play under tower for a bit. But I don't think the aggression has waned from Froggy Style very much. Even though they haven't played, they have the longest hiatus of any team in the playoff. Obviously much longer than ISM, who just played last night. And we will see how much this has affected their gaming. Thing is, I know for a fact they haven't played as a group in a couple of weeks. Maybe got some scrims in the past, couple days, but it was been a while since the playoffs started. So we will have to see if they're able to reacclimate and get into a groove. As Fuse chunks out Too Hard a little bit, and the hook lands onto the Lulu. She will take a good chunk of damage, but the heal comes out, and Trundle is back here in the bot lane again. But this time, Wukong is here to challenge. Shield does not flash away. The Ignite goes down. The heal comes out a sword, and now they're turning this one around. Hydra's flashes. The flash hook comes out of Shield. They will trap Hydrus in the alcove. He is truly alcove gaming, but the kill should be transferred over to Sword, and it is with ease. A nice turnaround there and a counter gank by Wukong.
You know, Trundle's trying to get his Jinx ahead, and Wukong is doing exactly what I think he needs to be doing. He needs to be countering that because your bot lane on FS wants to play aggressive against who they're against. They have a Blitzcrank. They want to look for these hooks. But if Trundle is always there, they can't really do much.
And a hook onto Anivia might have been the wrong play here. His shield has no flash to get over the wall. He should die in this engagement. Anivia going to be the one to pick up the kill, and Smurfdon will be forced to flash over. Had Trundle had the red buff or anything of the sort, he would have been able to get the kill with the burn there, but I will say it does turn out to be a positive play for ISM, and they will net Drake off of it.
Yeah, so overall, just good rotates from ISM. That's what basically secured them that fight early. They were quick enough for it. Really unlucky that they weren't able to kill. It looks like
Fuse gonna go in, pop the ulti onto the Camille. He will net a lot of damage. Is this gonna be a solo kill? Camille pops the ulti, but it's gonna be not enough. And that is Fuse taking the solo bolo against Too Hard. Is Claims now having a little bit more status behind him? Are you still on the Fuse camp, or are you in the Too Hard party?
I think they're both great players. I think Fuse, the Fiora, is going to be much better in this matchup, of course. Too Hard's just got to know that, like, when he doesn't have his F up, Fiora can just run him down the majority of the time. If you can bait out the W from Fiora, you can outplay him, get your stun off into your R. But other than that, Fiora with her R is just impossible to beat as Camille. So well played by Fuse. He's doing much better than the last time we seen him on Fiora. Hopefully we see more out of him.
Yeah, and it looks like Trundle is here again, ganking the bot lane. Flash is blown out of Sword. A little bit premature there, as the pillar did not even come out from Trundle. It doesn't really matter though at this rate, because it looks like they're going to play more defensively, having both of their flashes blown at this time. And Nikope and Hydrus take some more priority back in this lane. But I do have to point out the CS discrepancy between the Jinx and the Kai'Sa currently is 20 CS down and a kill. So that Kai'Sa has a bit of a gold lead on the Jinx. And we see Wukong sneak into the bush down here. He's fully alcoved, and he is level 6, and that's going to be the Wukong Cinderella spin going down. Lulu might just fall anyways. Wukong will pick up the kill. The Ignite went down, and Sword basically 1v1s Nikope here. The Kai'Sa winning out in that engagement there. A good swing for Froggy Style Moon.
That's exactly how you want to play Wukong. Use your invisibility on that ability to your advantage. ISM just didn't know they were there. They get caught off by surprise, and there's nothing they can do. Lulu's not 6. They get separated, and they basically just both get picked off. Really well played from FS.
Yeah, now this is where your lead starts to grow. They're looking Rift Herald, but it looks like Ashura's already here. But it was stolen by the Corki! Ashura, no smite there. And now he's forced to run, but is the Corki going to get out? He does with the help of Wukong. They will actually turn the kill. And up on the top side, Fuse and Too Hard trade flashes. The health bar seeming that Fuse got the win in that trade. And I got to say, that's just a win all around for Froggy Style Moon.
That's so sad for ISM. You know, they had the Herald so close, but it looks like he had already expended Smite. So there wasn't really much to do there. I mean, unfortunately, if Packen roamed over, he could have helped or something. But overall, that was just really well played from FS.
Oh, and Shield misses the hook. That would have definitely turned this bot side into a skirmish. Jinx is down a couple of components here. So that would have been, towards Froggy Style Moon's betterment here. But it looks like things are going to settle back down. As we look at the gold lead, it's a 3k gold lead at just over 10 minutes, which is pretty substantial when you look at the state of the game. There's 7 kills over Froggy Style Moon. Fortunately enough, ISM did pick up that first dragon, so it's going to be difficult for ISM to play this mid game. thing is your main 2 points of power are kind of down and in their luck. But how do you suspect for Froggy Style Moon to get back? Actually, Ashura is going to get locked up under tower here. Sword locked in place by the Chompers, and now is taking a good chunk of damage. Shield steps forward and socks Nikope, but it was all for this gank here out of the Wukong. The shield goes off of Nikope. Nikope falls, and Baruka King looks to get the kill on top of him. Too Hard now running from Fuse as the majority leaves away, and I believe that was 1 HP on the Fiora? Or excuse me, on the Camille, rather.
Yeah, and ISM is just kind of getting bullied all around here. At this point, I would be looking towards it to play around Anivia. She's got a chance to scale in the late game, although Corky is doing the exact same thing, keeping up in farm. He's finished his coal. He's going to have a lot of gold as well. If you're ISM, you have to play for good fights at this point. Try to get into the late game and get some items.
Yeah, Smurfdon is locked up here by the pillar. He will W forward, but that red trinket helps him a lot. Now, Shield is here. He misses the hook, however, and the Anivia rotates over, so they're in a disadvantaged 3v4 here for Froggy Style Moon. But Corky is coming, and Corky has the package. They want to fight around this next Drake, and it will be a fight indeed if ISM has anything to say about it. The hook lands onto the Lulu, and that's going to be a lot of damage coming out. Sword manages to pick up the kill, and he's on a rampage. This Mountain Drake should be given over, and before it falls, what do you suspect this next Drake soul is going to be?
Ocean.
Oh,
let's go.
I believe that was a cheatsy little pick there.
No, I didn't. I actually did not see it, believe it or not. I did not see it from what I'm watching before. But you know, you asked very, very soon as they were taking it, so I had to just throw one out.
We gotta be quicker on that one. But as we look at the state of the game, that 3K gold lead from just under 3 minutes ago has changed to a 5K gold lead in the favor of Froggy Style Moon. This is the point of the game where if you don't start winning or catching skirmishes in a dynamic way for ISM, this game could go completely awry for you. And look at the damage that Fuse is putting out. He does actually get traded on quite well, and the ulti will come out, so Camille has ult advantage, and now Trundle's here. Fuse goes back in on to Too Hard, and I don't think it's going to be enough as Too Hard drops the ulti, and Fuse will fall to Ashura. Shield here in the mid lane misses what I believe was going to be the knock-up into the hook, because he was polymorphed, but they do get a lot of damage out onto Nikope. They also get the flash and the heal from Hydrus, or excuse me, flash from Nikope, heal from Hydrus, so it will be a bit of a gain for Froggy Style, but at this point, you already are so ahead. It's going to take a lot more for that, or a lot more than that for ISM to get back in the game.
Yeah, right now, you know, they're just really behind in every lane. The jungler's behind, their mid lane, or not their mid lane, their top lane and their bot lane. You know, hopefully we can see this Jinx get some kills, maybe get some of these shutdowns and get back in this game. This Blitzcrank is playing really, really, really well. It just does so well into Enchanter meta because, you know, an Enchanter can't do their job if they're hooked into the entire team and instantly die. So just the pressure that Blitzcrank exerts has really been felt this game, and I really think it's been one of the highlights for FS this game so far.
Yeah, he's definitely doing his job, catching this Lulu off guard, even the Jinx in some occasions. He was a little hook hungry in the initial Dragon fight versus the Anivia, but I mean, we can give him that one. He's just trying to bolster his stats. You know, he was 3 for 5 for a while there, and he hooked the Anivia. He got that bonus one on there, but as we look across the board, it looks like Shield is just going to do a little bit of roaming here, try to exert some of this pressure that he has on the map into more gains for his team. We're looking at this top side tower here, and multiple members of ISM now push up here as second Rift Herald is spawning very soon. Anivia pushing bot side pretty much alone here, is going to have free reign on this tower though, and if this fight breaks out, Anivia does not have TP, so this is going to be a genuine 4v5. As I speak, we are rudely interrupted by Fuse TPing bot to save the tower, so ultimately it will not be a full fight here. They're going to give the Rift Herald over to Froggy Style, which I think is a smart move. You're in no position to fight at the current moment, and that's probably going to be used top.
Yeah, right now, if you're ISM, you're just wanting to survive and not feed any more kills into their scale. Oh, no.
That's very unfortunate, as the hook does land onto Too Hard, and Sword is the beneficiary of that, picking up the kill. And I believe that was his last takedown that he needed. Has he killed every single person on ISM? I saw the 130 pop up, and maybe that was the second takedown. If he's taking, what is it, Treasure Hunter, you get the bonus gold for getting the kills. And that's very beneficial. But at this point, we do have Shield flashing forward, landing the knockup onto NicoPay, and he's holding the hook for that exact reason. They do a lot of damage to the Jinx. Ruka King gonna pick up the kill, but Sword putting out so much damage. NicoPay had no chance to even use the exhaust there, and who would he have used it on? The Blitzcrank? It was nearly impossible for him to get out of that situation with so much CC and so much damage going down.
Yeah, FS is just playing really, really well right now. ISM is just trying their best to hold on, but FS is just pressing their lead so hard. At this point, Anivia is like, or not ahead, but kept up with her laner. It is possible that she can keep them in this game. We kind of need to see something out of Packin, see him maybe help with some of these picks, maybe get her ADC some kills. But overall, yeah, FS is in the driver's seat right now.
I want to say by no means is Jinx out of this game. It's just so difficult for him to operate because there's so much dive on the side of Froggy Style Moon, and that Ocean Drake does go over to Froggy Style, and it looks like they want to fight. The hook misses, but they're still going to walk in. The silence goes down on the Packin, and he will have to leave his ultimate behind. The Wukong goes in on multiple members. He's exhausted, but it's not going to be enough as multiple members of ISM get very low, but the shutdown goes over to the Camille, and now Corki might just fall as well. He does. The Jinx is very excited. Shield is trying to get around the wall, but it's not going to be enough, and another kill might come over for NicoPay. Too Hard actually picks it up, and that's going to be a huge fight win for ISM.
Yep, and this is what ISM does really well. When they seem really far behind, they find a way to get back into these games, and it's by taking good fights like that. Packin there are a portion of the fight, of the area they were fighting, and basically it zoned FS off so hard, like none of them wanted to go around it. That's exactly what you want to do as a Nivea. Just make the fights really hard to traverse. Really well played from ISM. That's exactly what you want to see. You get some kills onto your Jinx. That's going to be huge in the late game. Hopefully they can keep it up and take more good fights like that one.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I feel like it was more of ISM kiting away and doing the best that they could to subdue the main engage from Froggy Style. And then eventually, after all the engage was gone, they just sprung, immediately turning. And NicoPay was in the perfect position because they chose to go on to Too Hard and pack in for a little bit of the engage. We saw the exhaust go down from NicoPay onto the Wukong, so a lot of that initial damage was siphoned away. And then we also saw that Blitzcrank was kind of, useless after he missed his flash hook there, or Hex flash hook, I believe it was. He doesn't really have a lot to do except run up and hit them or run up and silence, and his silence only hit Packin, so the ult eventually was cut off. But it's very difficult to navigate a pick comp or a pick dive comp if you're not getting the pick or the proper dive. It's very frustrating, and when they kite you out and then are able to turn on you with such quickness and so much pace, it's the point where you're like, okay, we just need to back out if we do not hit these marks here, or we're going to lose the fight.
Yeah, I really think one of the best things about Blitzcrank is he not only gets a lot of pressure when he lands hooks, he gets a lot of pressure when he doesn't use hook. He keeps it up, so it basically makes the ADC have to move around and panic that the hook is coming out. You have to know when not to use your hook. I think he might have sent it a little too soon. If he knew that if Shield knew that they were going to team fight, they probably should have just but he probably should have just ran in there and maybe flash Ard first and made sure he landed a hook, and that might have been a one-team fight. But overall, if you're looking for picks, sending hooks like that one he was looking for right there is really beneficial. But if you're going to team fight, you want to make sure you land those, because that could mean a won or lost team fight.
Yeah, and then just following up, you're fighting without some of the main tools that you have available to you. They didn't have Corki package available at that time. Fuse's ult didn't go down properly, or at least he was blown up before it was able to go down. And certain small misplays that can contribute to team fight losses like that, even though you're up, it was 5k gold at the time, it can be dangerous. And also spending that gold is a huge part of being ahead. If you're sitting on 2k gold, 1,000 gold, basically a whole component or a whole item, it doesn't really bode well for team fighting, seeing as you're not going to be able to shoot your advantage forward. As we do see Ashura jump on shield here, he will be able to get out of that in a little bit, but is forced to flash over the wall. A really good placement by the Anivia. All in all, it will just be the Blitzcrank flash.
And that's actually huge because,
but now Wukong jumped on the backline. They lulled them into a false sense of hope here as they are now getting jumped. And that hook was massive. Pulls the Anivia as she's resurrecting, and Smurfdon might be a little low here. The heal actually comes out, and the Trundle will pick up the kill, but it's not going to be enough. His shield is now running. Nikope getting excited all over the place. Picks up a double kill rather, as Ashura did get that initial kill. But the Camille onto the Kaisers they were trying to leave is massive. Now the exhaust comes out, but the double kill still goes through. The polymorph lands, but it's not going to be enough. And is Baruka King or Shield going to be able to clean up this Lulu? I don't believe they are. And it will be a 4-for-3. Froggy Style Moon getting a little bit bailed out by how strong their ADC is at this current moment. I have to say that engagement was more of what we wanted to see. Is it looks like Sword and Baruka King will pick up the Drake here, but that's not exactly the biggest part of what you want to happen in the moment. Ooh, and a very close moment there as Packen nearly stole the Drake away. But we do see FSM. A bona fide snipe from across the map, and Nikope takes down Sword for the massive shutdown. We do have a bit of a lag here. There we go. It is all back and fixed, but I gotta say, everything was perfect there. Flash forward out of Packen, and they caught two here in the jungle. Fuse and Shield looking pretty low here, and Packen gets the Lulu ult. Fuse will have to flash away, and is it going to be enough as Ashura flashes on top of him, gets the bite and the slow, and now he's just going to take down Fuse. Too hard getting the kill credit, and that's 3 picks for the initial Dragon. I would say that's the initial trade there, and it looks like ISM's looking for Baron. Tucker has stepped away, but as we look at ISM now ahead, Too Hard will jump on Smurfdon, trying to get some of this damage across, so Smurfdon has no way to steal, but he will die to the combo of Smurfdon and Baruka King. And now the package splits the team, and he will get a lot of damage across. Hydras does fall, and the shutdown goes over to Packen. Smurfdon trying some of the old Wukong standstill tricks, and they will land a good amount of damage, but the wall actually messes up Ashura's movement. So it looks like the Wukong will get out, but now Shield wants a hook here. He unfortunately will be rooted in place, and he will fall for that missed hook. The ult did come through and cancel Packen's ulti, but it's not for long, and it's going to be a 2-for-2 on the backside of the Baron. At this stage of the game, being ahead only 1k gold, Froggy Style has a pretty big deficit in the form of the Baron. If they're able to take towers here, if they're able to get major objectives, it could be the turnaround that ISM needed at this juncture. And right now, they're just kind of deathballing, 5-man ganking, and being able to win the team fights, because it's not like the pick out is coming through from Blitzcrank. It's not like the dive is working very well if you have to run through, a Nivea ult, the Pillar, and the Lulu ult. It's just very difficult to get on top of some of these key members. So I would like to see Froggy Style set up maybe sort of an ambush here And it looks like they already have one onto Ashura. The damage does come out, but it's not going to be enough. He does actually land one of the rockets. Key rocket, actually, because they are able to subdue this push in the mid lane. And we see 5 members of Froggy Style Moon now around this mid, as ISM sets up a bit of a crunch here towards this bottom jungle area. But Camille is out here all by her lonesome and might just fall for it as Fuse goes up here to take the 1v1, but there are 2 other members in the area. He reads that, no one's on the map, and he will back off for the time being, but ISM is taking a deep hold in this bot side jungle. It looks like Shield might just walk right into it. He actually does ward, so it will be spotted out. Hydra's going to take down the ward, and ultimately it'll be nothing doing. And this is really good if you're Froggy Style Moon. You're just wasting the Baron. You're not really letting them push anything too aggressively, and you're not letting them get the rewards from reaping the Baron, not taking any objectives or anything of the sort. As that Baron looks like it's strong on the Anivia, the Trundle, and I believe the Jinx. We'll have to see how strong ISM is at this stage when Froggy Style Moon does decide to pull the trigger and jump on top of them. Shield kind of just looking for a catch out alongside Smurfed here, as most of ISM transitions for the Dragon that's up in just under a minute. They will push this bot side in as well, but Smurfed is here to answer. Shield lays down a little bit of vision, trying to make sure that they're not spotted as they come up here, but the initial Kai'Sa bullet does miss, and now they're going to jump on him. It's a huge ulti out of the Wukong. Unfortunately, shield is pulled in place, and he does manage to get the shields off of Ashura, but it's not going to be enough as the Lulu ult does miss, or excuse me, does make some of these more aggressive dives very, very difficult. They subdue for the entirety of the Baron buff, however, so that is a win in the side of Froggy Style Moon. But now, this bot tower is taking a lot of damage, and Packin's going to eat a turret shot. As the drag is up in just under 10 seconds, it will be Froggy Style Moon tracking ISM through the jungle. And I gotta say, Packin is relatively low, does have the egg here, but is it going to be enough? Oh, he is hit by the Kai'Sa missile here, and now Ashura's picked off. The immediate kill from the Kai'Sa, and it will be Packin trying to live. Fuse is slowed, stunned, and he will egg the Anivia, and unfortunately for Too Hard, he is going to go down to Fuse, and this is the team fight that Froggy Style Moon wanted. They get the Ocean Soul, they get the 4 for 0, and now Sword's gonna jump onto Hydra's. Is it going to be enough, though? I don't think so. That Lulu ult is on such a low cooldown. And with every member of Froggy Style Moon wearing that Ocean Soul, this game just became exponentially harder for Insomnia. Froggy Style has a wave here. They are pushing in towards this mid turret. They might look to end the game here. They decide not to be so greedy and will push away. Troll used Pop by Blitzcrank to gain some more space. Multiple members of ISM were respawning at that moment. Kai'Sa backs in this topside jungle, deciding not to stay for the red buff. Red buff is spawning at a similar time for Froggy Style Moon, and I'm sure that will be gifted over to the ADC, but it looks like Baron is more important on the docket. Just under 40 seconds away is the Baron, and Smurfdon will lead his team towards it. If Froggy Style Moon manages to garner this Baron, it will be game pretty much, especially if they do it in a commanding fashion. ISM doesn't really have the tools to stop the Baron wave pushing in outside of the Anivia. Jinx obviously is going to do a lot of damage, but when you throw the Baron on top of the threat of the dive, the threat of the Blitzcrank pull, it does become very difficult for ISM to move. Froggy Style's just going to go ahead and start up the Baron, and unbeknownst to many members of ISM, they finally spotted out, and it looks like they will just play guard here, as only the Jinx rocket is going to be thrown towards it, and Froggy Style will pick up the Baron with no contest here. ISM has decided just to fight it out and see if they can stop Froggy Style from pushing down the base too hard, but it's going to be a tough cookie seeing as multiple members of FSM have item advantages on Insomnia. Corki even has the package. And one catch-out could spell the end of the game at this stage. Fuse looks like he will push in this bot side here, as the other 4 members of Froggy Style just hover around the mid lane. Blitzcrank nearly lands the hook onto Nikope. Wouldn't have been much follow-up here, outside of maybe the Corki following up a little bit. Maybe the Kaisa actually lands that missile. Would definitely help, but Fuse alone in the bot. I think this is the chance for ISM to catch something out, but they have to be wary as their base is already cracked. Multiple members of Froggy Style are pushing down. Hacken is being surrounded at this moment, and he does show himself, but that's not going to be enough damage, and now you put yourself in a bad spot. Luckily for him, ISM did have his back, but the massive damage coming out from the Corki package, and Kaisa jumps all the way in the backline onto the Trundle. The fight will explode now, but maybe a little bit more subdued until he lands the hook, and that is going to be Nikope absolutely deleted. Wukong with the double knockup, Kaisa with the double kill, and that should be pretty much the game. Packen looking to live here, but I don't think it will be for very long. Smurfdon's kind of trapped here behind the wall and will die nearly to tower. The ult should kill him, but another hook landing onto Ashura, and he will die from Collector. Sword doing a lot of damage, doing a lot of work right now, and they're just basically keeping the last 2 live members of ISM off of the team. Packen forced to flash away as the towers fall. Soon will the Nexus, but they're not going to do it without killing Packen first. Baruka lands everything onto him, and the ace does go over just as the Nexus falls. And just under 33 minutes in the game, Froggy Style Moon has picked up the first match. Unfortunately, Tucker is still gone, so we will throw it to a short break, get everything set up for the next lobby, and then come back. Hopefully, he will return, and I will not have to fill your eardrums the entire time. But until we do, please stick here with us.
I will love you. I will love you. I will love you. I will love you. You won't go fooling me twice now, baby. Sorry, that's the way it is. Yeah. I let you get to me once now, baby, but I'll never let you in again. It's time to pay one with my head. No more tears I'm gonna shed, no. Don't you be like that, I will love you forever. If you don't believe in me, yeah. Don't you think like that, I will love you endlessly. If you don't believe in me, don't you be like that, I will love you forever. If you don't believe, I will love you forever. I will love you. I will love you. I will love you.
Clown. Don't you be like that? Don't you be like that? Don't you think like that? Don't you be like that? Don't you think like that? Don't you be like that? Don't you think like that? Don't you be like that?
Hello and welcome back. We're already into draft for game two. These teams are very feisty, and unfortunately Tucker is gone, but I do have my protege, one of our league admins, BLG Choas, here with me to cast. So we're gonna transition into the draft. They've already got a couple bands done. But BLG, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I was watching the last game. It was great. Both teams putting up a fight. Loved it. See how it goes.
Yeah, I am ready as ISM has chosen to remain on the red side for this game. I do believe they obviously saw things that uh, they already saw things that they want to play, and I'm ready for this is a 5 game series, by the way. I'm ready for maybe these teams to take on a more definitive role. It looked like ISM was a little wary of where their comp was at. The Anivia was a little bit disjointed from the comp, but we've seen Packen excel on things that aren't necessarily to his comp's exact cue. But perhaps this time they choose to be a little bit more decisive when they fight and whatnot. But Nefilio's first pick, let's go over the bans real quick. Viego, Twitch, and Mordekaiser stay the same, so those bans aren't changing for Froggy Style. But Rakan, Kaisa, and Zach are going to be banned this time around. I spaced on his name for a second there, and it looks like they will be running back the Jinx for Nikope.
This is great, I think. I think Nikope's jinx last game was the thing keeping them in that game for so long. They of course didn't have the greatest early bot lane, even though they did get the first blood, but it didn't turn out so well after that. But the jinx was great, and I hope we can see it again. And of course, they picked it after the Aphelios, so maybe they're confident that they can win that lane.
Yeah, we'll have to see who they pair that with, as Aphelios is a relatively dangerous champion to play. Is multiple things can jump on top of him. He has no real escape outside Gravitum stun and his flash, of course. But Diana locked in for ISM, and immediately in response, Lee Sin was locked in. For those questioning in the chat who was the MVP for the game one, we are not actually going to give away each game's MVP because this is the finals, grand finals. We will have a finals MVP, and we will tell game by game who MVP we thought at the end when we crown the finals MVP. So just to let y'all know how that's going to go. We do see Talia locked in for Froggy Style, and it looks like they have their mid-jungle duo here, barring Talia going support or something a little, wary like that. But it looks like Packen is going to lock in the Yasuo. Diana Yasuo combo obviously has been played at the professional level before, but it is amazing to see that combo actually work in game. And it's going to be even more amazing seeing it work against some of these kind of low mobility targets. Talia, very low mobility, does have the boost around walls, but if she's engaging in a fight, it's not going to be there. Aphelios, low mobility. Lee Sin, on the other hand, does have a good amount of mobility, but he will have to, kind of kite these enemies away or kick them in or away from his team. And we do see the Fiora is going to be banned. They did not like that one last game. It didn't really snowball the entire game, but it was very strong across the entirety of the game. So I'm glad to see it gone. Lulu and Aatrox also banned out. We'll have to see what the last ban is here. But I would like to see another spicy top lane fight. How about you?
Of course, last game was great. We saw a couple solo bolos, and we saw some good and some bad ganks. But I want to see some more different top lane fights. We've seen a lot of the same stuff. Honestly, a lot of Mordekaiser, a lot of Fiora, and Shen here. We see this. Actually, I think it's going to be a very boring top lane, but I would like to see something hard stomp. I want to see a good top lane action where one team beats the other.
Yeah, we did get the chance to see the Darius take on the Mordekaiser yesterday, and the Darius rather handedly stomped that lane. So we will hope to see something like that again. But with Too Hard picking Shin, he has kind of reserved himself the right to go, hey, I'm not playing for me, I'm playing for the team. And he is going to be there and be a definitely impactful person. As you look to the Yasuo, you look to the Jinx, you look to the Diana, all great targets for Shin to R, and can assist in the wombo combos or even some of the dive that they do have on the side of Froggy style. Not necessarily dive, but engage rather. And then onto the Jinx, it would just be, a huge savior. Excuse me. As we do see Alistar locked in as the last pick here, the support for Hydrus. And it looks like Leona is going to go support for Froggy style instead. Juani's going to play top. So we have a very mixed amount of damage here for both teams, which is good. And a very tanky top lane for both teams. And I imagine here that this is going to be more so the Diana Yasuo show for ISM. And this is going to be more of the Lee Sin Talia show with the Philios pop off if we do see Sword get ahead for Froggy Style Moon. So I'm looking at mid jungle a lot here. Bot lane a little bit because there is stuff that can happen between Alistar, Leona, Jinx, and Aphelios. Just kind of different in the way they set it up. But what do you suspect is how this game is going to go? Who do you think is going to win?
I'm liking ISM's team much better this game. I think that Froggy Style Moon is going to try to engage, and of course they can't pick people off, but I think in those couple times where they will be picked off, the Shenar is just going to come right in. Like, if they try to engage with Diana, the Shen will give her more time, and then they can just continue up with the Diana R, and then it could be turned into a playoff of ISM. And kind of the same thing with Yasuo, he needs that time to stack his Qs for the Tornado. And I think that Shen is just going to give them the playmaking ability that the Sejuani and Lee Sin are going to be going in, and then he's just going to counter that.
I like it. I like the take. I'm actually going to agree. I think the Diana Yasuo is just so easy to pilot. I think that it sets up your team fight excellently, and then Nikope was no scrub on that Jinx last game, so if he's able to emulate that performance, he will be able to take over the game with the help of Ashura and Pack in here. And I gotta say, if ISM is able to even the series out, I just love the fact that it would be, closer to that Silver Scrapes. I know Tucker's a big proponent of it, and I definitely want to see it, seeing as this is our grand finals. But we're going to throw it to a short break here, and when we return, we'll be into Game 2. Stick here with us. Hello and welcome back. As we transition into the game, it does look like majority of ISM did take pretty standard runes here. Pretty much the same on Froggy style, but I do want to point two things out. We do have Jinx taking the Cleanse Summoner spell, and we actually have Alistar taking the Exhaust. This is going to be a much more defensive lane than what we saw last time, even though we did have a Lulu. So expect this bot side to be more of aggression from Froggy style and less aggression from the Jinx Alistar. Outside of that, though, how do you think this game's gonna go, BLG?
Once again, I'm seeing the engage on Froggy Style Moon as a double-edged sword where it could work, it could also not. But what I want to look at is Phase Rush Alistar. I don't know about you, but I have never seen that. I was expecting like a Aftershock or Guardian, something defensive.
Phase Rush
Even
is actually a very common on Alistar because usually he gets WQ plus his E or WQ plus auto attack, and he's able to keep up with most everyone on the enemy team, barring Flash or some movement ability like that. But as we do see Smurfdon start on his red, it will be Ashura actually starting on his red as well, but on the opposite side of the map. So they should be pathing in the opposite way. Ashura coming down towards bot and Smurfdon going up towards top. This shows a little bit of where the teams prioritize their aggression. Ashura guessing that the enemy team is going to have more of a volatile bot lane, and I believe it's Smurfdon wanting to stay around mid-top for the early parts of this game.
honestly, if I was Ashura here, I'd play for this top lane. But wow, look at mid. There
This
goes
is
first
massive.
blood.
Packin said, "You don't get the best of me. I get the best of you." Picking up first blood does expend both of his summoners, but I mean, when you play against the Yasuo, you have to be so respectful. His movement ability in the lane to dash off of each creep and just get on top of you is so powerful. And Baruka King just didn't pay that much respect as he now burns both of his summoners as well. He was getting a lot of damage off onto Too Hard, and Too Hard's going to have to back up and pop a potion here. Hughes is winning out in this top side currently.
So I think this top lane is going to be a bit of a standstill, pretty boring, and they both have great gank setup. But I think the Sejuani's wave clear ability is going to keep her ahead, keep her, I guess, also more vulnerable to ganks. But we'll see if that happens or not.
Yeah, and I already said before that I think this mid-jungle synergy is going to be where we see the most of the aggression come out of. And with Yasuo picking up first blood, I imagine that the jungles are going to kind of cycle towards there. Neither one of the mid laners have flash, and Yasuo doesn't really have a lot of escape outside of the flash, because unless he has minions behind him, he can't genuinely dash to his own minions or anything of the sort. So we'll have to see how far the aggression is going to go for Packin and what Smurfdon is going to be able to do to respond to that. Meanwhile, keeping track of Ashura and making sure his bot lane stays healthy.
We're seeing here like two bot lanes that can easily hard scale, and two supports that will just try their best to keep their ADCs in lane. But I want to know where this bot lane favors, because if they just leave both just farm, I don't think anything's going to happen, and then it's going to be a lot more reliant on the mid lane, and we've already seen the mid lane lead on the Yasuo.
It's going to be a lot more difficult on the Froggy style bot lane to do anything, seeing as how defensive the summoner spells are for the ISM bot lane. You already see the cleanse on the on Nikope and the exhaust on Hydrus. It's going to be tough to get through those, as well as do enough damage to kill them early game, especially since Philios isn't necessarily the strongest champ early game. As we see Too Hard pressing this lane in, he did have a shadow behind him in Ashura. It looks like they're just going to posture here, and they do have nearly 1,000 gold lead on ISM, but now Smurfdon is here, and they kind of read this one as Hydrus goes a little low. He will Get the exhaust out. The flash comes out. Is it enough to burn him? It is not. He does survive there. So, I mean, good heads-up play by ISM. Kind of reading what Froggy Style likes to do from the game one. And that's huge. You subdued a lot of the damage, a lot of the kill pressure that came out of Froggy Style in the early seconds here. And now you just have to make sure you don't die in the next couple trades, and you'll be back to resetting everything promptly.
I think, of course, as Aphilio's bot lane has a much worse early game, so this gank that alleviates pressure, especially on the extra defensive bot lane on ISM, is perfect for them. And as long as they stay in the game, maybe we can see this jungler more free to go around.
This is something I really like to see. It's Froggy Style with a bush setup here, but is this known to ISM? Are they wary of this? It does look like they are as they start to push the wave, but they're being very careful towards the bush, but it doesn't matter as shield locks up the Alistar. He will get the shield from Too Hard, and Ashura is here. They're trying to turn it, the flash out of Sword, the flash out of Too Hard as well, and a good turnaround. I believe Alistar was on 15 HP there, and that is massive for the side of ISM to stop them from coming out. But it's also good for Froggy Style, is Too Hard is going to lose quite a bit initially here. He does have the TP if he so chooses, but initially he does miss out on this wave.
I have no clue for who that was worth, or who was not. But I think this Alistar has got a stroke of luck this game. It's 2 times already that he's survived on a sliver of HP.
Yeah, I do agree. And as we transition here into about the 7.5 minute mark of the game, it does look like the gold lead has shrunk a good bit. Too Hard is up here in the top lane, does have that Bomby Cinder, so he is outputting a little bit more damage than the Sejuani currently. The shields are so helpful towards him. The Q, the rework on, or not rework rather, but the ability on the Q to pull and give shields and increase your attack damage for Shen is so important, and your trading patterns in this lane. But the main thing that I like about Sejuani in this lane is the ability for her to all in at level 6. We do see her currently level 7, and if Too Hard's not too careful, he can get locked up. I also like how Too Hard has adapted to the fighting powers of the Sejuani and kind of dodging out by putting down that no attack me sphere from whenever she lands that E. And it does look like Tucker has returned. Tucker, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Okay, well, you're 8 minutes behind. I'm privy to this game. How you feeling about it?
I mean, just looking at the Yasuo Diana on ISM has me excited. I mean, that's the first thing that caught my eye when I saw the comp is I saw a Yasuo, but then I also saw that he's against a Talia. So this seems like it's been an interesting game thus far. And has there been any crazy thing happen? You want to catch me up on anything?
Yes, so First Blood was just packing, going all in, level 2 versus the Talia. Absolutely ate Talia's lunch, and then past that you just saw Lee Sin help Fuse help Lee Sin pick up that kill in the top side, and that's pretty much been all the action. First Dragon was just taken there by ISM, and you gotta expect with these comps, the comps that they've decided, the real spikes for these champions come around that early to mid game spike, around the 15-minute mark. Past that, it's just going to be small little skirmishes and maybe some mechanical outplays, as we saw Packin had earlier. But right now, it's pretty much a lull state. The gold did once reach 1,000 difference towards ISM, but we'll have to see what they decide to do in the future. As Too Hard's getting the best of Fuse in this current trade. Still 2 tanks smacking each other a good bit, and Smurfdon is back. Too Hard still doesn't have Flash, so it's going to be a lot of damage coming out, and Fuse will pick up the kill this time around, and they're just kind of taking advantage of Too Hard's pressure in this top lane. Meanwhile, 4 members of ISM are on this bot side. Rift Herald was taken, rather, by Smurfdon, and now Talia TP's in towards the bot lane to make sure this dive doesn't go through, but Yasuo plus Alistar equals absolute deletion. Diana here to help clean up, and Shield is a tanky girl, so he will not die just yet, but now it's looking like he will go down. A triple kill for ISM in the bot side of the map. Talia should have maybe pressed her advantages mid, because that one didn't turn out too well.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you see a Yasuo, Diana, and Alistar, those are the kind of combos you look for. I mean, there's not really much you can do except besides try to flash away from that combo, because if you get trapped in that slaughterhouse, there's almost no chance of survival. It's just so much damage coming from the Yasuo R, the Diana R, and Alistar just provides an extra knock-up. Very well played by ISM.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about at the beginning of the game. That's what their bread and butter is for this composition. It's all about that Yasuo. It's all about that Diana, that huge wombo combo. And like we said before, Aphelios is not going to have a great time into this. Without Flash, he's pretty much dead, or at least chunked out every single time. Leona's not going to be able to provide that much peel if Diana is able to already get on top of both of them. And you can't really cleanse out of a Yasuo ultimate, because it is an airborne and then into a suppression, I do believe. But you have to fight, you have to play the cards as they are dealt, and they already locked in the Aphelios first pick, so the gauntlet was thrown. And it's kind of at the mid state where we're like, okay, first tower has fallen. There is a pretty significant advantage on the top side of the map for Froggy Style. How do they get into this game more so with the bot lane than the top here? And an early pick definitely would help that. Sword absolutely locks up the Alistar. He will knock him away, but the stun comes through. And now Talia is here. You guys ganked us with 4 before. We'll gank you with 4 now. And the return kills for Froggy Style. That's one way you definitely get back into the game. Too hard able to fend off Fuse here. And I like what Froggy Style has done in response to how ISM is playing the map currently. You see Diana and Yasuo in this top side. I don't exactly know what Too Hard is doing here. The ult could come out from Fuse, but oh, Too Hard is baited. He's baited hard, and Diana has ulti available. Yasuo decides not to go in on that one. They do pick up the kill onto the Talia, and Shield is in some danger now. Double kill for Ashura here, and this might just be it. And Yasuo will go in off of the knockup from the Alistar, but both Fuse and Smurfdon are able to get away right here. Fuse missed ulti earlier, so it's not available at this current juncture, and now ISM is just pushing towards this mid lane, trying to get this tower down even further. Packin taking a good chunk of damage from Fuse plus Sword combo, and they eventually will back off. 4-0-1 on this Diana. Finish Nash's Tooth, and she is very strong at this point.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Fuse going into the Alistar again. Phase Rush expended as it did land the combo there on the Fuse. Packin could be caught out here. The Gravitum is available, as was the Leona ult, but they decided not to go in on it, because multiple members of ISM were around. Shield takes a little bit of damage here. The tornado goes a little awry, and now the positioning is around the dragon. A good ulti from Shield, but unfortunately the wind wall doesn't allow any follow-up. Shin is here and does eat a little bit of damage off of the back end, but now it's a split fight as Packin is on too, and Hydrus is going to fall to Sword. Packin barely takes down Baruka King, but it's just Shield left, and he doesn't have enough damage to kill Packin, and Packin will solo ult the Talia, but on the back end he will die for it. Smurfdon and Fuse still alive with Sword here. The trade is mid lane and support from mid lane and support. Now Smurfdon trying to live, but Diana does so much damage at this state of the game, and she does push out a lot. Sword's gonna fall as well. Fuse last one left alive, not much of a health bar on him, and it will be Drake going over to ISM.
Yeah, that Diana and the Yasuo are just doing work right now. You know, they also have the Jinx to just if Yasuo Diana aren't enough late game assurance, the Jinx is just that extra step you need. And the more kills she gets, the more problematic she's going to be for their entire front line. So I like that they drafted the Jinx again for Nico Pay here. Also, it's just so much fun watching the Yasuo and Diana play. Their combos are so exciting to watch. Shin has been playing, his character pretty well. I like the ults coming out from him, basically securing his team a lot of these fights. Overall, really well played from ISM.
Yeah, I think ISM is doing a wonderful job. They've drafted themselves some more comfort, some more wombo combo, as opposed to what Froggy Style had last game. They weren't able to necessarily ascertain that again, and this feels like more comfort on the style of Froggy Style, or on the side of Froggy Style. And I think ISM is just doing a great job of playing to their win con. They're playing around this Diana, playing around this Yasuo. Too Hard is garnering as much damage as he can from everyone and then immediately getting out. He's only died twice, and both of those were to single or 1v2 ganks to the top side. So we will see a lot more coming out from this Diana Yasuo combo. But first, looks like Shield wanted a piece of Nico Pay. Unfortunately, not able to land in the middle of the ulti, which would have resulted in that nice stun, and then the follow-up could have came through. But a lot of deep vision here from ISM, now getting taken away by Froggy Style. And this next Rift Herald is probably going to be ISM's on the docket. We did have a small lag there, I apologize. But yeah, ISM is going to be given this one on a silver platter. And in the boss side, Fuse is going to fight Too Hard here. Don't think he wants to expend the ulti, as Hard could just eat away. He is chasing rather hard. And Talia is positioning towards his bot side. Too Hard now fighting, as Talia seems to have backed off, but Too Hard knows his damage and knows when to get out. The E does land, and a nice chunk of health comes off as Fuse is pushing towards Too Hard. Just two tanks smacking each other, but it does look like Fuse is getting the better of Too Hard at this position. He might come down, not enough time, and yeah, that one's not really ever going to result in much unless there's somebody around to kind of help out, which I thought Talia was coming down, but ultimately didn't. A miscue from the Lee Sin, and that'll be Diana and Yasuo walking away. There is a flash kick angle for Smurfed on, but I don't think that's going to happen. As we reach the 18-minute mark in the game, we do see Insomnia up by just under 4k gold. A huge part of that is just the Diane and how well she's played this game.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if ISM does continue this trajectory of this game and ends up coming out with a win, if maybe they are willing to do this again on what will probably be blue side if FS gets to choose. So we'll see if they're willing to maybe do something like this again. It seems like it's working really well, but when they do this, the first time you can get the jump on someone, but the second time FS might expect it. So I'm curious to see how the draft goes for the next game if this turns out the way it's going right now.
Yeah, I do expect FS to play maybe a different comp next time around if this one does not pan out for them, but can't count them out of the game just yet, as we couldn't count ISM out of the game last game. Both of these teams have been known to be able to win a fight or two. Definitely some of our better skirmishing teams in the league, and I mean, getting to the grand finals is obviously a point in that. You do get to see, as we see the movement out of Shield, trying to be wary of anyone that was in the bush. You do get to see how well your team is, working together, how well your team is cooperating, and how well the comms go. To some extent, how wonky the comms can be, keeping that morale high. But it does look like ISM is just in the driver's seat for this game at the moment.
For sure, right now, I think the Yasuo and the Diana, they're both so ahead, and that combo is capable of just deleting FS's backline. It is still possible that Shield and Fuse can maybe peel Diana and Yasuo off of their team if they are able to survive that initial burst. Oh,
You see the initial ulti on the shield, and they will just call this catch out, but it won't be quick enough as Packen is forced to dash forward again and hit the Q to take care of the Leona. It will mean this Drake most likely goes over to ISM. And Packen looking for more now as Smurfdon does get knocked up. He will be forced to run away. Does get stunned as well. That is going to be a Dragon Soul point, Infernal Dragon Soul point for the side of ISM. And now Too Hard in a 1v2 situation. Sword is topside, trying to get some of the gold back for himself as he knows he can carry this game. But oh, just not enough damage onto Too Hard. Now all of ISM is here to back up their top laner, back up their boy, and in this best case scenario, Sword needs to just walk away. But now on the opposite end, Ashura is a little bit caught out here himself. He does have the ulti, manages to land it, and Yasuo comes over the top. The shutdown does happen for Lee Sin, but he is immediately killed. And this fight is definitely in ISM's favor. Sword's taking a lot of damage from Nikope, and it will not be enough for him to output. Shield and Baruka can get out, but my oh my. Diana looked absolutely dead to rights, but her and Yasuo link up for a triple kill.
yep. She was stuck in the Talia E and like locked up by Leona, but she is so far ahead. She is so tanky that she still manages to get that flash R down, and that's all ISM needs with the Yasuo. Well played by ISM. I think Diana might have been a little mispositioned, but they're so far ahead at this point, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and they're looking to stretch that gold lead even further as we see a 6k gold lead now erupting, and that's with Baron just garnered. You can imagine as they decide to push down some of these lanes, take some of these turrets, that this is only going to expand, and it's looking like ISM really want to take home game 2.
Oh yeah, it's looking pretty good for them right now, especially Yasuo and Jinx. They're going to be hurting so bad late. They always have this Diana Yasuo R combo, and then you look at Shin and Alistar. They play into their comps perfectly as well. So it's like they have their damage, they have their magic damage, they have their AD, they have their tank stats, and they have their CC. It just seems like a perfectly drafted comp, and I'm really glad to see ISM pull something like this off.
Yeah, if you can't pull off pretty much the straightforward combo of Yasuo Diana, it doesn't bode well for you drafting in the future. But we've seen Packen on a flurry of individual unique champions, and it looks like he's just added Yasuo to that ban list, to that repertoire that he has shown throughout the playoffs. Fuse misses ulti here on the Nikope, but it looks like the majority of FSM are coming to help here. It is going to be Baruka King trying to take down Nikope, but it's not going to be enough, and Baruka King falls, as does Smurfdon. Fuse trying to leave. Don't know if it's going to be enough as he is in between 4 members. A double kill for Nikope, and now Packen's just diving, and on to Sword. He's going to go. He takes him down, and now it's going to be him falling for the ace. Well, 1 for 5, and now ISM is going to push down mid.
Yeah, and Packen sent that there, and he got both, and gives the shutdown to the Leona. So that 1,000 gold is now on the character you want it on the least. That's huge for ISM. Really well played. I love watching Yasuo in tournament settings, and that's one of the reasons I like watching it.
And ISM looks like they want to end this game very quickly. Smurfdon trying to get a little bit of damage across here, maybe stall them out a little bit as all of FSM is getting up, and can they hold as the Nexus is falling very quickly. Sword able to take down one, another one falls, and 1,000 gold goes over to Fuse here on the Sejuani. So they do answer back. No sub 25-minute game for Insomnia. Talia even exclaims her joy there, but it's going to be very, very, very difficult for FSM to recover at this stage.
But I mean, if you want to try to recover, that's what you do. You kill 4 of ISM. You basically have the map for right now to take some of these objective bounties, like they just did with that tower. I'm actually surprised they were able to stop ISM from ending there. I wonder if they would have focused a bit more on the Nexus, if ISM just would have been able to end. That might have been a little bit of a flop. But overall, yeah, I still think ISM's in the driver's seat of this game. It's going to be up to FS to try and pick this Jinx or this Yasuo before they can get this combo
There's a
off.
TP into bases. Talia just TP'd out too hard. Is going to end this game now. He said there's no 10-minute extension. You guys wanted to leave early. We will leave early. And Too Hard's TP at the perfect moment will end game 2.
Yeah, I mean, if you Too Hard was like, if you guys want to extend up and take this tower gold and these objective bounties, then I would just use my summoner spell to get into your base and end the game. Really well played by Too Hard to just use the TP spell to your advantage. I'm glad that I've seen a backdoor in the playoff series. That was one of the things I haven't seen yet. Really happy to see that. Well played, Too Hard, into all of ISM.
Yeah, great job by him, and the timing, the absolute perfect timing. Talia literally TPs right by the ward that they had in base. Too Hard says, hey, she's going out, I'm coming in, and he's able to take down the base in the back door. We're gonna hopefully get into game 3 rather quickly. These teams have been gunning for quick turnaround, so we'll throw it to a short break here, but we will see you all back for draft number 3 coming up. The series is tied at 1-1. Hello and welcome back. As we said before, these teams are quick on the turnaround. ISM is opting, or excuse me, Froggy Style Moon is opting to stay on the blue side. They said they enjoy blue side so much, they're just going to live there. And absolutely amazing game last game. We saw the Diana Yasuo come out, and it was just a magical pairing. Tucker is still here on the desk. I think we should be done with some of the issues that we had earlier. Tucker, what are you looking for in this draft this time?
I want to see more of that. I love those explosive comps like that. Quick engages, lots of damage with your ultimates. I love when teams decide to do something that can bust up the meta. And I think Diana Yasuo is one of those things that can really bust up metas. Enchanter really isn't going to do anything against a Diana Yasuo because it's really hard to sustain through that amount of damage and that amount of burst. So I want to see some more explosive champions like that. Hopefully, we don't get a straight meta down the pipe, but let's see how FS and ISM drafts this.
Yeah, well, we do have the poll going up early this time, but we do want you guys to see the fullity of the draft, and we do have Fuse immediately locking in the Diana. They said, you're not going to do that again, bud. So unless they take the Yasuo here in the first 2 picks and sort of pigeonhole themselves on the pick, it most likely will be Diana Yasuo for Froggy style this time. And what do you think about this quick adaptation in the draft?
I think it's kind of smart because that's probably why they wanted blue side again. They wanted that first pick. So it's like, we take Diana. Do you take the Yasuo without the Diana, or you leave it up for us because we knew you weren't going to ban it after last game? Really smart on the side of Froggy style. I like that. If it works for them, it can work for you. So I want to see if FS goes full Diana Yasuo here, and how ISM responds to that.
And Nico's out here doing his best cosplay of Danny from Evil Geniuses as he's going to lock the Jinx again. I mean, he's been performing well on it. You can't knock him for playing it, but 3 games of Jinx in a row, you start to wonder when FSM is going to ban that one, or if they decide to ban it at all. Ashe will be locked in as a response, and Trundle also picked for ISM in that last rotation. Do we see the Yasuo pick here?
I hope so. I don't know if they do it. It just depends. I don't know if Baruka King is necessarily adept or is comfortable on Yasuo, and that's what it all comes down to. You don't want to pick a character just for the sake that he's a character that goes well with Diana. You want to play around your own strengths and on champions you're comfortable with. So, like here, they choose a Galio. That could definitely be a mid lane. So I'm happy to see that they're not just going to choose the Yasuo. The Diana pick was more to deny them the Yasuo than it was to for them. So I like the way FS is doing this draft so far.
Well, Packin has decided, or not Packin, rather, Too Hard has decided that he is going to take the Shin again into this top side and sort of blind it so his team gets a better counter here, but they will automatically ban the Fiora. Don't want to see that against the Shin, and I think that's a good call. Honestly, Fiora was so good for Fuse in the first game that if you have to go into something like a Shin, where you can repost his taunt, his best trading mechanic there, plus the Q pull through, it does become a more dangerous lane for Too Hard. But getting rid of the Fiora most likely means that this top side is going to be a little bit more difficult to absolutely steamroll for either player, unless they pick a matchup and just where Shin is the winner. I don't think there's too many lanes where Shin just outright beats the crap out of some other opponent, but if that was the case, I think that they would have banned that one outright. But Nicopay is going to lock in here. I imagine we see the mid lane lock in response to the Galio. That way we can fully excerpt the counter picks here, and we do see the Corki come out. So in response to Galio, how do you like the Corki?
I believe it's okay. You get some good first strike potential if that's what he's going to go, which is what I expect him to go. Galio's not exceptionally dangerous to Corki with his W, so I think Corki can buy coal and just farm it up. That's basically what Corki wants to do anyways until he gets at least 2 items. Once you get Ludens and your Manamune, your rockets start doing tons and tons of damage. So I really think that's what Corki wants to do this game, and Galio's not really much of a threat. The only thing is Corki can't really match Galio's roams unless Corki has his package, which he only gets maybe once early game. So it'll be interesting to see how Packin plays this, because he's going to have to be very alert of what's going on, very observant of where Galio is going, so that his team doesn't get constantly ganked over and over by this by Baruka King.
Well, I love that you had all that in mind, but throw it out the window as Galio
is Galio support.
Victor actually going to be the mid matchup, so they did actually pull the wool over ISM's eyes and do get the counter pick here. Victor into Corki, obviously very good for the Victor. Able to poke him out in the early stages of the game. Late game, it's kind of a coin toss depending on who's had the better game, the better farm so far. But I do like what I see out of here. I will say Kled is not necessarily a strong character right now, but his skirmishing potential and his 1v1ing, especially against Shin, is very, very powerful. And to add on to that, Fuse is a Kled aficionado. He has a large amount of games played on Kled. He has a high mastery rating. He likes Kled. So it did not get banned. I'm surprised that it did not get banned this game. Maybe they were more worried about the Aatrox over Kled, but it's definitely something that I'm excited to see about in this comp. Well, while we look at the comps finished and where they are going, what do you think the outcome of this game is going?
You know, I like these comps. I think that overall it's a pretty standard game. The Diana jungle is very interesting. I want to see how FS does on it. I really do like the team fight potential for FS. I mean, just look at these ultimates. They have the Kled ult, or they have Ashe R, which can be followed by Kled R, which can be followed by Galio R, which can be followed by Diana R. And it's just a lot of engage tools for them. As opposed to ISM, they seem to have a more standard. This is a more standard, meta comp we see. They do it very well, especially the Trundle pick. I like seeing ISM pilot the Trundle because they're generally so good on it. Nikopay, the Jinx, has been phenomenal in this series and last series. I'm surprised that he's not getting more love for his Jinx because he's been playing really well on the Jinx, scaling into late game. Ultimately, this is going to come down to, can ISM scale into late game? If ISM can scale into late game, Jinx and Corki damage, I think, outmatches anything that FS has. Unfortunately, I think FS tools they have for the early game is going to be a little too much. So this game, I'm going to go with FS.
I'm actually going to side with you. I think FS has a lot of engaged potential. And when I'm looking at ISM, they have two forms of disengage. They have the Shin, the Alistar, but I'm not seeing a whole lot more than that. They have the Trundle Pillar, but I don't really count that as disengage when he's normally using that to aggress forward, or maybe it stops Kled in his tracks a little bit, but I don't think it's going to do too well for them. I think that this Corki is not going to get a chance to scale. I think Bruca King will be able to handle that, and if not he alone, then Diana will also be able to help there in the mid lane. And I think the wild card for me is the bot lane. I think that this is going to be a hotbed this game. I think Diana and Trundle are definitely both going to want to be down there, but I think this game is going to be more reminiscent of Game 1 than Game 2. I think Smurfdon is going to be able to counter gank Trundle because we know that there's no real way that you're ganking a Kled. It could, but I doubt it with the resets that he has on Skarl and his ability to just get away and fight you in a 2v1. And then possibly a gank on Victor, but Diana is just going to hover around mid-bot, and that's probably going to take over the game. So, that's what we think. You guys had the poll. We will see what your guys' poll said in a second. But we're going to throw it to a very short break and come back here with our game number 3.
Let's go!
for days, searching for your praise. But is it even there to find? Is there a chance for me to clean your memories? Will I slowly lose my mind? Lost in the maze, stuck in your gate. How can I get out? I'm out of time to make you mine. Baby, show me how.
to be alone. I'm used to this, I'm feeling down. Yeah, it's like drowning to the well. And I can feel the flow without the wall. It's like getting fucked up in the sea. Sharks are sailing, yeah. And I'm bleeding.
And welcome back, as we did have a slight pause there because of a thunderstorm, I do believe that was, but we are transitioning back into game, and it does look like we are going to have a bit of an invade towards this bot side, something that Froggy Style likes to do a good bit, but a 5-point stance out of ISM should let them see that one coming. And we'll have to reset the scoreboard here. But it looks like Nikope is going to be here and ready. So FS is not going to get a whole lot out of this. Maybe a deep ward and they're going to have to back off. But on the opposite side of the map, ISM should get a deep ward themselves. Tucker, looking at everyone's spells and runes, how do you feel about all of these? There's definitely an interesting one or two that I'd like to see.
Yeah, the barrier ignite on Kled, I see that. That's going to be interesting. You know, I haven't seen Kled a lot in this meta, but I know he can still be a very dangerous champion, especially for tanky champs like Shin. He gets that Conquer proc. But also, Too Hard does have a little bit of prowess in lane, as his W can block almost the entirety of Kled's W if he plays it right. So it'll be interesting to see how top lane shakes down. But that's about it as far as runes and summoner spells. I'm interested to see this top lane matchup.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing how these lanes play out. Like I said, I do think the majority of this game is going to be seeing how well the jungle can play around this mid-bot side of the map. And we do see an initial chunk of damage go on to the Alistar, but I want to see Baruka King show us that he is worthy of being touted over Packin. Baruka King did make third team All-Pro, as we do have another small delay there. And Packin did not make the list. Packin actually did receive a most improved player, but was not on any of the All-Pro teams. So, and he has been absolutely showing out in the playoffs.
Yeah, Packin's always been a wild card. Never know what he's going to pick. He's got so much in his arsenal. He's always a fun person to watch in these games.
I agree. Anything from Vel'Koz to obviously the Windbro last game. I'm spacing on even the most basic of names. As Ashura jumps on Smurfed on, and he's going to have to flash, but Packin is here. Does a little bit of damage, but not enough. The squeaky toy obviously not gonna do it for you. Yasuo is the name. My goodness, I was spacing so hard, but now we see Too Hard using the top side, getting the best of each other. Ashura is here, jumps the wall, and it's going to be a good timing until shield arrives, and Baruka King is here. He does get a huge chunk of damage over, and that's going to be first blood onto the jungler for ISM. Baruka King picking up the dub there.
Yeah, I mean, initially it was really well played by ISM. I'm so surprised that Corki didn't have enough damage to finish off FS jungler. Looks like
the remount out of Fuse. The Ignite goes down. Is it going to be enough to kill Too Hard? He decides not to fight it. Saves barrier. Had a smidget of actual health here. And now Too Hard in a dangerous situation. Does dash away. Fuse not going to be able to get him. But the shotgun gets the kill. The smallest of margins there played by both of these top laners. Nets Fuse a kill in this 1v1.
Yep, and the Kled remount is extremely dangerous. That's the bread and butter of the champion. I guess Too Hard thought he had enough damage to win that there. Unfortunately, he was just a little off, so close to finishing off the Kled. But Kled is a very tanky champion when you include his remount. So well played by Fuse, and FS takes a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, definitely something that you want to see if you're Froggy Style. Get this early advantage, get these multiple late game scaling members of ISM out of the game early, and you really stunt the growth of the team. As we see now, FSM is pushing up towards this tower, but they have to be wary. Trundle is in the bot side of the map, and Baruka King wearing those double buffs is just poking Packin out and being very annoying at this stage. See a little bit more aggression towards this bot side as Ashura looks for the dragon possibly. He does reroute up towards this mid lane, and Corki looks like they're on a back, so he will fall back away from that one. Gonna look for a back there himself, and honestly, if I'm Smurfed on, I'm taking advantage of this. I'm moving towards Drake. I'm trying to establish some deep vision, but they spot Smurfed on the top side. So he decides to cancel his back, as does bot lane here. And ultimately, it's going to be a 1,000 gold lead here, just under 6 minutes for Froggy Style. I really would like to see them get some of this advantage onto the Ashe, knowing how powerful Ashe can be in these settings.
Yeah, Ashe is just an all-around just such a good champion. She can have a lot of damage, but she also just has so much utility in her kit. She's got vision, she's got slows, she's got the CC. Oh.
Smurfed on now here to join the party. Sword taking a good chunk of damage from the Trundle. He will be bitten into pieces, and Smurfed on is trying to find more damage to answer back, but Trundle so strong in the skirmishes early. Shield looking for anything else, but it's not going to be enough. And that's the opposite of what you want if you're playing Ashe here, as Sword is. He's down both summoner spells. Nikope didn't even have to burn anything, and he still helps net the kill there.
Yeah, and that's huge for ISM. Just swinging a little bit of momentum your way. You get a kill onto your jungler. Although Trundle is really, really far behind the Diana and farm, it's just nice to have that extra kill.
And immediately, Sword is jumped on again. They know his support is not here. He tries to answer back with a little bit of damage, but Smurfed on is here, and Hydrus is taken dangerously low. Sword will pick up that kill as he looks for a little bit more in the bot side, but it'll just be Nikope walking away from this one. And Fuse demands so much respect here in the top lane. Two Hearts afraid to walk over him, and that one looked a little bit janky, but he does land the bear trap on a rope. Will garner a little bit of a CS lead here after this wave should be cleaned up. Tucker must attend to things, and while he does that, Too Hard will try to keep his advantage. Meanwhile, Froggy Style picks up the first Drake of the game. It will be Cloud Drake, and we're looking at an Ocean Drake for second, so it will either be Infernal, Hextech, or Mountain Soul. I would like a Hextech Soul. I do believe Hextech is one of the most powerful and most entertaining souls in the game, given that the Hex gates do open, and it's such a cool mechanic to see in the middle of a team fight when somebody ports in instead of teleporting. And now multiple members are in this topside jungle for Insomnia, and I believe Fuse kind of reads this. He's playing somewhat defensively, but Too Hard getting the better of him in the farm here, and they're kind of just trying to stop the backside of Nikope. Don't want to really let him do anything, and the ult does land, so this wave will get pushed into tower. Oh, the Winds of War just able to stop Nikope under tower, and this is the easiest dive setup I've ever seen in my life. Sword is able to get a lot of damage across, but Nikope will slay shield. Sword dies to tower, is executed, and now Bruka King picks up the kill, but Too Hard able to trade back, and what a botched dive. You've been reading it for so long. So much given over in the side of FSM, and it's not going to be enough now.
That's what I was about to say. They took so long on the setup that it became very obvious what's going on. Too Hard was just sitting there with his R button ready on the Jinx, like just counting down, because the dive could not be more obvious than that. I think if you want to look for something, if you're FS there, you have to go with the Ashar. Overall, well read and well played by ISM there.
And it's going to be Fuse jumping on Ashura here. He does have a little bit of speed here, but it's not going to be enough as the Ignite goes down. Ashura taking a good chunk of damage. He is able to get away just for the moment, but the rope trap, or excuse me, bear trap on a rope is going to find him, and the last hit does take him down. Fuse with basically a solo kill onto the jungler.
Yeah, and that's that Kled popping off. You know, that was one of the things I wanted to see from this pick. We don't see Kled as much nowadays, but he's still just such a great fighter, dueler. He's got Barrier Ignite too, two very good dueling summoner spells. So like, it's gonna be really hard to beat that character in a 1v1 right now, especially with his 2 kills he's got. He's about to buy him something nice. I want to see him have some ults in some of these team fights and continue to push his lead.
Yeah, he does actually go ahead and forego the entirety of his door and shield so he can quickly buy that Gore Drinker. First mythic complete in the game at just under 11 minutes here. And we see Too Hard trying to freeze this wave near his tower in hopes to keep the the fully stacked Kled away from him, or at least, you know, in the danger zone. Smurfdon will posture towards bot here, but it looks like his bot lane is resetting. So, ultimately, I want to see Froggy Style be more proactive on the map going into the 15-minute mark of the game, but I also want to see them play around these objectives a little bit more. I want to see them garner maybe this next dragon, make sure they get to that dragon stacking accomplished, maybe get the next Rift Herald that comes up about 15 minutes into the game. Things of that nature that just, you know, ultimately will lead your team to snowball to victory. But for ISM, I want to see them contest these things. I want to see them be able to kite. I want to see them maybe get aggressive a little bit themselves. That will sort of cement themselves back into the game. Although they're not down by any means, they still have a lot of kills, or excuse me, they have kills onto the carries of their team. I would like to see Corki be more proactive. You've let the Victor out-roam you so hard this game. And this is a good bit of proactivity in the mid, but all for nothing.
Honestly, that was a really good trade for Shin, considering that Kled is sitting on a mythic when he has only half an item in his boots. I like the way ISM's itemizing. They're itemizing very defensive. We see the quick tabbies come out of Shin. We see the Hex Drinker out of Corki. They're playing for the late game. They know that's when they win this game. So they're trying to not give up as many kills. And the way you do that is you build defensive items like Hex Drinker and Ninja Tabbies. I really like the way they're playing this game. Hopefully they can keep it up. And soon, Jinx will be 2 items. Corki will be 2-3 items. And then they'll be in this game.
Playing defensively definitely helps, but they force the flash out of the jungler already here for Froggy Style, and they're looking for anything that you want to give them at this point. This dragon is theirs. They said so defiantly. And the ulti comes out onto the Trundle as well. He will be destroyed, but on the back end, Fuse taken down. The drag does go over to Froggy Style, and they're trying to get more damage, or excuse me, Fuse not taken down. It was Smurfdon taken down. They're trying to get more damage across now. Baruka will land, and the knockup coming out of Shield will do a lot of damage here. He actually picks up the kill onto the Alistar. Baruka King very, very fast with that Q augment, and Packin looking to try to kill him, but the damage coming out of Baruka is not to be trifled with. He accidentally takes a turret shot here, and Packin will flash forward. He misses the rocket, and if he's not careful, he will die here. Able to go around the slow field. Baruka's still chipping away at Packin as he trails away here, but Packin has to be careful. Shield is in the vicinity. The rocket comes out, but it's not going to be enough, and Shield is here now. He's ready for you, and it's going to be a lot of damage coming out from Shield, but is Packin going to be able to survive? He is not. The shutdown goes over to the Galio of all things, and good job kiting away from Baruka.
Yeah, that was just way too chased, too far, Packin. He should have known a little better than that. You know, eventually he's gonna get out, especially if he doesn't die mid there to that last rocket you had. You already expended your flash. I think he might have been tilt chasing a little bit. You know, he expended his flash. He used all these resources to try and kill him, and he didn't come up with it. And eventually, he just donated a kill pretty much because of it. So. The fight at the Dragon Pit was very even. I think FS got pretty lucky because they had multiple people get out with very little HP. But overall, yeah, right now, FS is sitting pretty solid at about 1,000 gold lead. 2 dragons up, 4 kills up. They're sitting pretty nicely, but ISM wants to scale into this late game, so we'll see how they respond.
Yeah, Froggy Style does have a little bit of an advantage here, and it's definitely something that they can push here as they go around Rift Herald. This is exactly what I said I wanted to see out of them, the proactivity on the map, the proactivity around these objectives, but it's all about how you follow up with it, where this Rift Herald is going to go, where the initial turrets are going to fall. I mean, first turret is still standing for for every single turret on the map, and we need to see this Rift Herald actually do something. They're doing a good job of holding on to this mid turret, and there might just be a counter push here. Maybe throw a team fight for it so they can try to take down this mid outer, but it's sitting just at 16 minutes in the game, 2 minutes left on the Infernal Drake. It will be a sub 25-minute Infernal Soul if Froggy Style is able to garner that, and that would be massive for their team.
Oh yeah, Infernal Soul for FS would be absolutely huge with the Ash W, with the Victor obviously, and even with Galio. He's got that Q that just procs that free infernal damage. I think FS definitely gets much more out of the Infernal Drake than ISM this game. But obviously ISM is going to want to contest these last few dragons and not let FS get this soul for free.
And it looks like they're pinging for the mid lane. Shura trying to get there to cover, but Nikope looks like they want it back here. Ultimately comes out of the backing animation. The Rift Herald still secured in the pocket of Smurfdon. I want to see him use this. I want to see him use this soon. Possibly in a set play where they push one side and then set play on the other. But it does look like they want to target this mid lane. Fuse is now up here. They're pressuring tower very, very heavily. And it does look like the Rift Herald will come out. Or they might just 4-man the mid tower and take it instead. Yeah, so they hang on to the Rift Herald, which is actually amazing. 4 backing times chosen by some of the members of ISM. While our camera pans massively back and looking for anything here, does actually stop Ruka's back. But good job getting first turret for Froggy Style. And Ruka's up here just trading back and forth with Pack, and as the next Drake spawns in just under 25 seconds, it will be FSM trying to get down towards it. ISM has the setup here, so they have a little bit of the advantage, but most of the members of SFM just went back and spent most of their gold that they made on that first turret. So we will have to see how this dragon fight goes. Looks like Fuse already has the inside track in the mid lane here. And ISM is just slowly but surely being pushed away from the dragon. A TP in here from the Corki, who just picked up package, could be huge as he does get the package across from multiple members. But Galio jumps onto his ADC to keep him alive. But Smurfdon's now locked in here with one member, and it's not going to be enough as Fuse falls. So does Smurfdon. A good package timer there. Sword goes down, and Shield's looking to follow. That's going to be a clean ace for ISM around this third Drake.
Oh yeah, I mean, everyone was gathered around that TP. FS thought they were going to jump him before he could get anything off, but lo and behold, he had his package, and that is a bad spot if you're FS. He just packages the whole field, burns nearly everyone, jumps. He also gets ulted by Shin, and he basically flash W's onto the Ashe, so Shin gets a free taunt. Just really well played from everyone on ISM. Really good heads up, like knowledge of, and that's probably one of the best uses of Quirky package I've seen, like in the playoffs for sure. Even though we've seen a lot of Quirky played, it's really well done by Packin, and just well fought by ISM.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, Packin. Now stealing away the blue buff. The Rift Herald finally goes down, but it's towards this top side, and I believe Assure should be there to answer in a timely manner. It looks like the backs are going to actually be stopped out of ISM, so they will go answer it together. And you're constantly letting this Shin pick turn around some of these fights, turn around some of these major impactful moments in the game. And now you're trying to jump the Shin, but it's very tough to jump him. You see his 4 members are down towards this bot side, and this Rift Herald gets absolutely no value in the top side. So FSM is looking a little bit lackluster right now. They're looking a little bit behind. They're down 3k gold, and it's very tough for them to win at this rate.
Yeah, I think, when we were talking in Champs Select, when we made our predictions, we said that FS would probably win because we thought they would be able to shut down the late game that ISM has. But as we're looking here, they really haven't been able to do that. Jinx is sitting pretty at 2-1-6. Corki 3-1-3. Shin, Trundle aren't far behind at all. We're talking about two late game hyper carries in Corki and Jinx that are already doing so much damage, and they're just going to keep doing more and more damage. So it's going to be hard for FS as the game gets later, but they definitely have potential to win this game with some of their ultimates, with some of their CC and utility to take out some of these hyper carries.
Yeah, most definitely. And we see Hydra's lock Fuse up under tower here. Unfortunately for him, he's not going to be able to do a whole lot. His sword actually lands the cross-map snipe onto Hydra's, and it's going to be a pretty decent timed stun there, as the longer the arrow travels, up to a max, it does stun for longer. Fuse now fighting in a 1v2 here, as Hydra's and Nico are both on the top side of the map. I do think that this game is going to hinge more on how well FSM can do at splitting this team up and doing the right thing and like jumping on the carries than it will do. That backing animation is beautiful. Than it will do on ISM looking for picks and whatnot. Like, I think this year is very proactive and nice, but it's very difficult to gank a Kled, especially with a Galio waiting in the wings. They do land, but it's very tough for them to kill them.
And I mean, if anything, there ISM just gets some ultimates out of Galio and Kled, and that Galio ult has a massive cooldown on it. So, like, in ISM's eyes, that's enough for them to go for Baron here. And I actually like this because, they're missing some of their key ultimates. Yeah. They don't really have as much engage.
Corki is absolutely shredding, but has he bitten off more than he can chew? He does manage to get the kill there on the sword, and it will be a trade. Ultimately, it stops the Baron push, and a decent win for FSM. I don't know if that's exactly the way you wanted it to happen, but that's the way it worked out.
Oh, I don't think ISM wanted that. I think Corki's initial plan was to zone the Baron, and he just got a little too in the zone. He got a little too much into the damage dealing, and he realized he had to fully commit because he was already dead at that point. And I think he did good to at least trade the Ashe at that point. But overall, like, Ashe takes that trade. Corki's more valuable at this point. And it also stops their Baron because, the only damage dealers they really have is Packen and Nico pays, Corki and Jinx. So if Corki falls, all FSM has to target and worry about is that Jinx. So they have to play very carefully, ISM, especially the Corki, with how he uses his W. He can't just W in like that, especially in these late game fights, because if he does that, it's very easy for FSM to catch him out.
Yeah, I agree. And now this next Infernal Drake is coming up. 7 seconds left on it before it spawns. And FSM definitely wants this one. But pretty much on the exact mark, Corki has the package up again, and the arrow does catch him out. Kled also jumping on top of him. He is going to be able to package across the team, and the ult comes out from the Shin to keep him alive. It won't be enough to save anyone on Froggy Style Moon. They thought they had the damage, but they obviously do not. And this might just be it for them, as not even Hydra's falls in this engagement. A triple kill for the Corki, and this time for sure ISM has the Baron.
Oh, yeah. And, another excellent use of the package. This one was probably even better. I like how he's saving his package for these important objectives, and he knows, or like FSM knows, that that's what Corki is wanting to do, and they almost managed to catch him out with the Ashe R, but there comes Too Hard with the Shin ult. He has Corki's back. He's been watching the map the entire game. He knows what he has to do. Really well played from those two. Packen gets the package across the entire lane of the map, the entire funnel that FS had fallen into, and it's just so much damage. You cannot fight in Corki package. It will kill your entire team. Just really well played from Packen and Too Hard.
Yeah, they're doing so well in tandem right now, but you can't count out the other members of the team that ultimately are doing their job. We saw the Alistar be able to separate some of the damage that came in from Froggy Style Moon, and we also saw Nikope helping burn down that dragon, then immediately turning onto the team fight. I mean, Ashura didn't really have a tough job there. It's not like there was a smite fight or anything of the sort, but he was managed to, excuse me, he did manage to garner the dragon, and then immediately turned with Nikope to help out in the team fight. And without their help, the team fight doesn't go as swimmingly. I think at this stage of the game, ISM is firmly ahead, and I imagine some of their characters could even 1v2 as we see Packen absolutely jump on top of the Kled. The damage from those rockets is amazing.
That Corki damage is there now. It's going to be really, really tough for SF to deal with that. He is doing so much damage. He's got the items he needed, Luden's Man Immune and the Tiamat item. That's just so much damage. Plus, he's got the Hex Drinker, which is just a little bit more defense for getting caught out. And the Shinar that's going to fall on top of him every team fight. It's going to be really hard to kill this Corki.
Yeah, and Sword's trying to catch out Hydrus, but they better watch out because Packen is in the area. They do actually taunt him up, and now multiple members enjoy the fight. Galio's ult does go down, but it's not going to do a whole lot, and now 4 members of ISM are here. Packen is unstoppable, taking down Fuse. Shield should fall as well. He does to Asura here, and that should be just about the game. The only shining light here is Nikope died to Smurfdon, and now Alistar is just going to let Smurfdon walk out of here, as they do have the Baron buff still adorned on all 4 members remaining alive, and they are pushing 2 lanes here, trying to get this lead even further stretched out.
Yeah, and right now, if you're ISM, I think you just kind of coast to victory. As long as you don't fumble the ball in some way, this game should be pretty much over. You did what you came to do. You scaled your characters up. Jinx 3 items, Corki 3 items. You are where you want to be right now.
And they will jump on Asura, and even through the ulti, he will die. 5 people does not really bode well for a single Trundle. But I want to point something out. We've been praising every single member on both teams when they do well. I want to talk about the unsung heroes, and that is oftentimes the players that just do everything for their team and still don't get enough recognition. I want to highlight Hydrus. We highlighted him we highlighted him yesterday for his work in the jungle. He has now switched roles. He is on support. He is doing everything that his team's asking him for. He's only died twice as an Alistar, being the main form of engage for his team, and he has 16 assists. He is an absolute man of a man to play with his team the way he has, and the same goes for Too Hard, playing very defensively, playing for the team. He has a redemption now. These guys are doing absolutely everything. And look at this frontlining for their carries, knocking away the Diana. They're absolutely winning this team fight. Packen doing so much damage. Smurfdon does manage to kill Nikope, but it's not really like it matters at this point. Packen is the premier carry here. Fuse does get a little bit more damage over, and now it's just Hydrus looking to go in. Too Hard looking to go in. Packen putting out so much damage. Ashura gonna knock up Shield here, and Packen is absolutely godlike.
Yeah, that Corki damage at this point is absolutely horrendous to watch. I mean, he's just one-shotting people with rockets. I don't know if anybody saw, but the Diana went in and just got obliterated by the Corki QER combo. Corki is a massive problem right now for FS. I like that was sort of a desperation fight, I think, and that's all you're really going to have at this point in the game. Now ISM's on Infernal point. Corki with the package or with the rockets is going to be so much worse with Infernal Soul. If you're FS right now, you're just looking for picks anywhere you can get them.
Yeah, and the desperation doesn't stop here. As Galio now trying to come in. Packen still doing a lot of damage here. Hydrus is the main goal here as the Nikope rocket goes wide. Shield's still taking a lot of damage. Unfortunately, the rocket misses, and Smurfdon just trying to get on top of Packen, but the 2 tanky boys not going to let that happen. Hydrus is going to fall here, but Packen is now in for a heyday. He picks up a double kill. The shield out of Shin is going to keep him very well topped off, and he TP's in. He wants more. He wants the game. He wants the Diana. He will TP out. Unfortunately for him, Diana will get the kill, or rather, Kled does, but he will fall for it. A 2 for 5, an ace for ISM, and another game under their belt. 2-1 ISM. I don't think they're going to blow it this time.
Yeah, I mean, that was... I mean, they did everything they wanted to do. I remember in draft, I said if I thought FS would win because I didn't know if ISM would be able to make it to late game with how much utility FS had. But that's exactly what ISM did. They played their roles to perfection. You know, with only 2 hyper carries, with only 2 massive damage dealers being the Corki and Jinx, you have to protect them. You have to keep them alive. And I think Alistar, Shin, and Trundle all played well and need to be congratulated for their performance, especially Shin. I think top lane doesn't get a lot of love a lot of times, especially in the tournament setting. And Too Hard is just really good at when he plays this Shin matchup. He knows he's not playing for himself. He's playing to keep his damage dealers alive. And I love seeing that from him. Overall, just really perfectly executed by ISM, and that was just a great game. I'm excited to see Game 4 and see if FS has anything up their sleeve to combat this dominant ISM team.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm FSM moving forward, you get side selection this time. Maybe it's time to get rid of the blue side. Maybe you got to ditch that and go to the red side. Maybe you need to make some draft adjustments here. Obviously, NicoPay has just been having a field day on this Jinx. He's not had a bad game yet. Even the game they lost, he still was the shining beacon for his team. And overall, Ashura's not doing too poorly on any of these picks that normally Hydrus is the one playing. Hydrus has shown a proficiency on every pick so far. I mean, what do you ban? If you ban out Too Hard in the top lane, you give up big picks for Pack and NicoPay. The counter picks are there for every single member of ISM. And even as FSM moves forward, what kind of comp do you guys want to choose to win? What kind of comp do you want to push forward with? And how are you going to do that? How are you going to ascertain that in the draft? We saw them give up Diana Yasuo, which is just an amazing wombo combo. They had great wombo combo their first game, and I think that was a little bit more on the unpreparedness of ISM over the fact that there was more prowess towards FSM's side. But ISM up 2-1. Match point. Are we going to get the Silver Scrapes, or are we going to get an ISM victory? We'll find out when we return for Game 4. We'll have draft up shortly. Please stick here with us.
Silver Scrapes!
I'm going to let the hype build. I'm going to let the hype go through because this is ISM on match point. Tucker, this game has been an absolute, or this series rather, has been an absolute banger. I can't say how proud I am of both teams this far in the season, but it's just been a blessing. Watching this has just been so fun, and I have to say, as we look at the draft for Game 4, I gotta see FSM come up with something better than what they had the last game, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I like how they get rid of the jinx. You know, they're finally giving some respect to Nico Pay. Say, hey, we know you're good on the Twitch. We banned it every game. And then now they're like, well, we're tired of seeing you on the jinx. We're tired of seeing that late game dominance. We're tired of seeing the late game hyper carry. We want to see you on something else. And that's exactly what they're going to have to do here on ISM. They're going to have to go with something else. You know, Nico has garnered 2 bans from FS, but that just opens up some other things for ISM. So we'll see what they do here. I'm excited. I hope we get a Silver Scrapes, but yeah, it's been a really fun series so far. This is ISM's game point. This is for all the marbles at this point. You know, there's not a ton of pressure for them this game because they have a lifeline. They still have a loss to give. But if you're ISM, you gotta feel a little bit because if you win this, it's all over, and then you take it home. So I'm excited.
Yes, for sure. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties, but we are transitioning over to the draft now. As you can see, Jinx, Twitch, and Mordekaiser banned for the side of Froggy Style, who decided to go back to the blue side as well. And it will be Rakan, Kaisa, and Zach taken away for ISM. And Set and Viego already locked here versus the Shin and the Wukong. They obviously have a game plan in mind.
Yeah, I think their plan was so they see Nico Pay on Twitch and they know he plays Jinx. So they're like, we're going to get rid of that. We're also going to get rid of the Mordekaiser from Too Hard. What else has Too Hard been playing? Shin. Well, we have blue pick. We have first pick. We're going to choose it from them. So basically, Too Hard and Nico Pay now have to get off those 2 comfort picks onto something else. So I'm excited to see. Looks like they're on Set and Ash is what I would guess this game. There could be a flex with the Set. Maybe. I don't really think it will happen, but there is a small chance we see it. But I'm excited to see them on some different champions. You know, I think that's exactly what FS is trying to do. They're trying to get them uncomfortable. And over on the FS side, we see some champions that they're very comfortable on, especially the Wukong. I'm excited to see that again from Smurfdon.
Yeah, we see a lot of comfort picks coming out here. I know that Xayah is FS Sword's favorite champion, and he's going back to the comfort here. Meanwhile, Nico Pay is still slotting into the main 3 champions that we've seen him play. Now playing the Ashe, we've seen the MF, the Ashe, and the Jinx. Priority for him in these series that he's played over the course of the playoffs, and he does get one of his comfort picks, even though 2 more were banned away. Twitch really hasn't been bad for him, but he doesn't really get it very often. And when he does, he absolutely pops off. So we were sure that one was going to leave. Meanwhile, Victor, Corky, Vigar, and Silas all banned away in the second round of the rotation. Swain immediately locked in. I'm going to bet that that's going mid for Packin.
It definitely could be. It could be a flex. It's a good flex because, you know, now the mid lane and support have to kind of decide what they think it's more likely going towards. I think we might see a Leona here maybe, or for the support pick. I think it would be pretty good. Instead we get an Alistar, which is pretty good as well. I was wondering if they were wanting to maybe deny the support at an Ashe Leona combo, because as you know, that's like a crazy amount of CC, hard to play against. But we'll see if that's what ISM ends up doing here.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like they will be going for the full Glacial bot lane, Ashe
Glacial.
Braum. And for the side of FS, they will have taken that Alistar away, putting shield on Alistar with sword on Xayah. And as we look across the board, I don't know how well Zoe plays into Swain, seeing as you have a very easily timed movement ability, and that E can be detrimental to you when it does go through. But we will have to see how it plays out. The main question that I have to ask, Tucker, going into Game 4, you've seen the draft.
I'm confident about this one. I
You've,
know it.
you've seen the draft. The people, they're
Mhm.
watching you. They see your
Yep.
reaction. Silver Scrapes, or are we done?
We're going to Silver Scrapes.
We're going to
I'm
Silver
confident
Scrapes.
in FS. You know, I've been pretty accurate with my predictions thus far. Their comp is really good, I think. They have a lot of damage. They have a lot of utility. They have the Wukong for that engage. Whereas ISM has a lot of situational stuff. Viego is probably not going to outduel a Wukong. Now, there is a lot of stuff that can go right for ISM. If Viego gets ahead, he could waffle stomp this game and send us home early. But Swain's another weird character. He doesn't do a ton of damage. You're not going to see Swain damage like you saw Corky last game. You're not going to see Swain damage like you see at Victor. Swain is very situational, as in your damage comes from if they're fighting on top of you. And a lot of their carries like Zoe and Zaya for FS aren't going to be in the Swain's range. Swain's going to have a hard time getting to them, especially with the Alistar with the Shin. So I think FS just drafted better this game. ISM definitely has a chance in this game. They have a lot of CC. I'm excited to see it. But overall, I think they're going to have the uphill battle. I got FS. We're going to Silver Scrapes.
Going to Silver Scrape, says Tucky. I'll put my point out here, and this is the biggest thing that I think this whole game falls under: vision control. We saw ISM have the majority of the vision control last game. Even when they were down, it was so detrimental to Froggy style, the movements they wanted to make, how quickly they were able to rotate to things. Zoe is a vision control freak. If you're not able to have vision control as Zoe, if you're not able to play forward with Zoe, it's pretty much a detriment to that character completely. If she's not landing these bubbles, if she's not landing the poke, you do not win with that character. And the way that they've been setting up around this mid to bot side of the map for Froggy style, they've been doing a good job of getting their vision down, but they haven't been doing a good job of retracting vision from the enemy. At least not in the sense that I want to see them like excel at. And if you're not retracting and they see a Zoe, they're going to stand away from the bubbles, and you're not going to be able to land anything or get any of the damage across that you want to with that character. So that being said, I think I'm going to give it to ISM. I think it's going to be a very difficult task, especially if any of the members of FS get fed early with Zaya or Wukong or even Zoe. But if they're able to subdue that, play to the 15-minute mark, win their respective lanes, or at least go even, I think that Ashe, Viego, Swain will have a better chance in team fights than the Wukong, Zoe, and Zaya, just playing from the fair baseline of, mythics 15 minutes into the game around objectives and things of that nature. I also think Braum is going to be pivotal in the game, seeing as his ulti could literally end a team fight just off of that, or he might be able to block some of the massive Zoe damage coming out and just save a teammate off of that as well. So that's my take. We're gonna throw it to a break, and the poll is up, so you guys tell us who you think is going to win or lose. Are we going to Silver Scrapes, or is it done here? ISM win. We'll see you when we return with Game 4.
Of course, this was a great honor, but it was also a great challenge. Ideas take on a special appeal when they become interactive.
on your mind, feeling pretty good. So don't stop it. Bitch, you in my way. Thank you so much. Oh wow, okay.
Hello everyone and welcome back. As we get into game number 4, we are going to transition over and it will be ISM starting on the red side, Froggy Style on the blue side. That has not changed. These monikers are in the right place, and we do see ISM get very aggressive here in the opening of game 4. They said, we have the Braum, we want to make this happen. We see them posturing towards bot here. Sword could be caught out, and before I even get you to speak, Tucker, this might go down as a first blood. Braum looking for something. He misses the Q actually, but the pack and flash into the first blood for the set. What a great play. Pack and flashing to the left so that the pull actually does manage to catch Sword. What an inventive idea and a great play by ISM.
Yeah, and I mean, you only expend one flash there. I'm glad that more of ISM didn't burn a lot of their summoner spells. Sword also was smart and kept his summoner spells. But overall, it's just great invade. I love how ISM every game, they hit you with a different invade. They stay out of vision until the very last second. It's very hard to predict stuff like that. Like Sword was positioned correctly and was 5-pointed. Not much else he can do when he gets flashed on and caught like that. But well played by ISM. I love seeing those early invade kills.
Yeah, it's a huge one, but we will gloss over the summoner spells and runes, as I think mostly across the board it is pretty standard here. Packen going with his pretty much standard build on all of his mid laners that he likes to play, is taking that ghost on the mages, does not really go in for the ignite. He finds ghost more acceptable, and I mean it's worked out well for him most of the time. But how you liking everybody's summoner runes?
Well, Ghost is almost required on someone like Swain, especially this game where you're going to have a tough time getting through the front line onto Zoe, onto Xayah. Because Alistar, Alistar has his W, great peel. Shin has taunt, and his R. Wukong is just going to be jumping on your back line. So it's smart to have Ghost just to make it that much harder for them. I like the Ghost over any other summoner spell in this instance. But overall, everything else seems pretty standard.
Do you agree with the Conquer on Swain?
I was about to mention that. Conquer, I'm not exactly... The last time I played Swain, I ran Electrocute, but I have no idea if that was correct or not, because I don't play Swain very often. But I would have to say the Conquer seems like it would be good, because it builds with his ultimate really well, and with maybe Leandry's if that's what he goes. But overall, I'll just have to see it and play before I can give a real opinion on it yet, but... I'm sure Packen knew what he was doing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Smurfdon does jump on Pack, and he will land the Ghost here. Or excuse me, he will take Ghost here. And now the damage coming out from Baruka King. Nice little pickup on the Ghost, and I do like when Zoe utilizes some of the summoner spells against their own owners. Definitely a little bit different to see the Ghost being used early, but the extra damage that comes out from the W is quite impressive. And that is an early flash Ghost burn. Well, actually, he didn't have his flash because he burned it on the invade, but a good Ghost burn from him in the mid lane, so he has no escape now.
Yeah, and overall, like, if Zoe lands that sleep, she whiffed it by a little bit. If she lands that sweep, Swain's just dead. He has no F. They were smart, FS was, to target the Swain since he did expend his flash early, but overall it wasn't executed perfectly. They did whiff of a Zoe bubble, but you did get his ghost, so not all is lost. And good trade for the mid lane overall.
Yeah, and it looks like Fuse is just getting bullied a little bit by the set here in the top lane. This is one of the main characters that can just knock Shin out of the lane. But I mean, that's kind of what Shin is there for. Like we talked about Too Hard last game, Shin is just a good punching bag. He will take the initial punches on the chin, wipe it off, and then, help his team out to win the game. I don't know if Fuse is going to go something as defensive as the Redemption here, possibly for his ADC, but we'll have to see how that pans out. I do believe we're going to have to see how the flow of the game goes first. First kill did go over during the invade, so It's about where the next kills come from, where the flashes are blown, where the dragons are taken. And I think for FS, they are going to want to take this bot side aggression. Does look like Fuse is going to get a little bit of alone time here in the top side with the wave, and he will push this one in, probably trying to get an early back in, but already a pickaxe picked up for the set, so you have to be careful if you're taking any of these extended trades against him, because set is just so good in the 1v1. Now he's trying to get a little bit of CS back, but a 3-man gank towards mid is not going to do it for Froggy Style. They do manage to steal away the Rift Scuttler, but that's going to be about it for that. Ruka King still with a good little CS lead here, but meanwhile in the jungle, Smurfdon is down quite a bit. I want to ask, how detrimental is that early kill onto the Xayah for Froggy Style, in your opinion?
How detrimental is that early kill? Not too detrimental. It goes onto the set. Set's already gonna bully Shin really hard. Shin's not gonna have a good lane regardless. It's not too bad. It's good for tempo for sure, but I don't think it's anything to like be like, oh, the game's already over. You know, obviously it's gonna be a little harder for Fuse, but he's playing Shin. Like, his job isn't this game to win lane. His job is to do Shin things, to land the taunts, and to ult his teammates. So overall, I don't think it was extremely beneficial, but it is always nice to have that extra gold if you're set.
Yeah, for sure. And we see a large CS disparity, much like the one we saw last game, at least during laning phase, for the opposition to Shin. And we do see on the opposite side of the map, though, FS is going to pick up this first dragon here. And now the trade patterns become a little bit better for the Shin, because he's able to trade back much more efficiently. But Set just does so much damage when you get in these 1v1 situations. Okay, we did this a little bit late last time, but this time around, with Hextech Drake coming up next, what of the 3 dragons do you suspect the soul will be?
So it's between Ocean,
Mountain, and Cloud.
Ocean, Mountain, Cloud. I suspect Chemtech.
I don't believe that one's in the game anymore, Tuck. I think everyone had
What
problems
happened?
with it.
What was wrong with Chemtech? Why did we get rid of Chemtech, guys?
Yeah, it was completely and utterly balanced, you know? It was.
I love Chemtech, actually.
It was just
everyone having
Ult.
Scion passive? Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's great. You know, everyone loves that. And then Renata passive on top of that. And then, you know, we have a little bit of a freeze. And apparently Too Hard had to run away from Shin. That's just how it is, you know? But in actuality, what is your guess here? I'm going to go ahead and steal it from you. Because I think it's going to be Cloud Soul.
I think it's going to be Mountain. We're going boring this game. It's going to be the boring one.
Oh, the boring one. Well,
see,
Mountain does.
We're going to get an Infernal Soul in Game 5.
Oh, so you're still predicting the Silver Scrapes. Got it. Staying true to you as FS does as well. The Xayah on Sword doing pretty well in the lane after the initial pick on him, but Fuse is just being bullied in this top side. Now Sword's trying to get an engagement on, does lock up Nikope, and the knockup comes through. Is going to be locked up again as Shield is able to get that damage down, but he will not be able to kill as the exhaust comes out onto the Xayah. Good trade for Froggy Style, nevertheless.
Yeah, I mean, they get Nico's Pace Flash. They also get Brahm's Exhaust. Those are big cooldowns, so, you know, 1 Summoner Spell for 2 is definitely... Or it's 2 for 2 because they got Heal and Ignite, but a Flash is definitely way more valuable than those. So just well played by FS. They know when to go in. They know when to get their damage across and get those advantages in lane.
And it does look like Fuse is going to get some help soon as Smurfdon is pathing up towards this top side. It has already been noted by ISM, though, and that deep vision is what I was talking about before the game. How effective that deep vision can be. And now it might be a solo kill as Fuse is doing a lot of damage to Too Hard. Unfortunately, he was not able to get the last little tick in there, and he was a little afraid about the last haymaker coming through. Baruka King is here, and he might have fallen into the wrong spot. Ashura is here as well. Is forced to flash over the wall, and he is burning down. Swain helping subdue him just a little bit, but Shin is able to TP back in. It's not going to be enough as the Ash Arrow does land, but now Too Hard is in a dangerous situation. The ult does come through, but it's not enough for Ashura as he dies as well. A 2-for-1. Baruka falls, but his Shin picks up a double kill.
Yep, Baruka King went hunting and unfortunately landed right on top of Viego. Oh, Swain.
Oh, Swain trying to get away. The blast over the wall while he was stuck in place. What a good stroke of luck for Smurfdon that was still available in there. And Swain is still tracking him. Don't know if that's really going to result in anything, seeing as Smurfdon is relatively healthy. He might circle back and try to see if he can get anything topside, but Swain looks to walk away here.
Yeah, but that fight earlier with FS, Zoe landed on top of the Viego. It was not looking good for her, but her team had her back. You had the and ISM also sent the Ash Arrow up. It was a very fun fight to watch, but overall, FS just was more ready for that fight.
And it looks like Baruka King messed up on the engage versus Pack, and he is forced to burn the flash. Also has to get out of there, taking a lot of damage from the Swain early in the game already. It's a little bit different when you see the Zoe into the Swain, because it's very difficult for, in my opinion, it's very difficult for the Zoe to do large chunks of damage to the Swain without being, close enough for him to grab. You can do things like come over the wall with your teleport on your ulti, or, maybe flash, make a play, but it's a little bit more where I would ask that the jungle comes over and helps, because Swain is just so inherently tanky with the health bonuses he gets on his abilities and things of that nature that it's really tough for a Nico early game to just kill him outright. And now Fuse is taking Too Hard to the clinic as he does dance around him and gets a good chunk of damage out. Too Hard with that Gore Drinker already finished is just trying to make sure that he stays aggressive in this lane.
Yeah, Shin does not have, you might look and say, oh, Shin has 2 kills. How does Set win that when he misses a W? But you got to remember, Set has backed and finished his Mythic. He's in a much better buy state than the Shin right now. So, and with a fight looking like it might happen here, maybe. No, nothing going. But yeah, Shin was just not in as good of a buy state. And he's trading pretty well for being down half a Mythic.
The bubble does land onto the Swain, but locked up does the Wukong get, and now the drag is going to go over. And like I said, prediction extraordinaire, Cloud Soul we have. Unfortunately for you, it's not going to be that boring. But, I mean, your prediction for Game 5 still might come true, so we'll have to see.
I don't remember saying, I think I said Cloud Soul.
You said Cloud Soul. Well, I'm going to have to disagree with that one. And
show me the clip. Somebody show me the clip.
We'll have to see how that goes. Now, Set locked up under tower. Is he going to be able to find the kill? I don't think so. And the extra insult to injury there. Fuse gets the solo kill on Too Hard. Not exactly the way you want to see a solo kill happen, but still a solo kill nonetheless.
Yeah, I think Too Hard there is just going a little too hard. He's trying to flex that Mythic he has when Shin hadn't backed yet. Smart if you can finish, but unfortunately it's a Shin. He has a lot of ability to stay alive with his taunt, with his W, with his healing from grass. So it's going to be tough to kill him under tower at any point in the game. So just well played by Fuse, and a little too hard from Too Hard.
Yeah, and now we're looking at a 2k gold lead roughly for ISM. They aren't up kills, but they have been doing a better job of farming, mostly in the top and jungle areas. It does look like bot lane, the advantage is towards FSM by just a smidge here, but we do see Sword getting his Mythic nearly completed. I would assume he's less than 500 gold off at the moment. But neither is the Mythic completed for the Ashe, so they're in a pretty even state if a fight does break out bot lane. And it looks like one might just do that as we see multiple members of FSM working their way down. Unfortunately for them, there is a ward there, so they might not be able to capitalize on this one. Top lane is missing also, and Set does have TP. It's already unleashed, so if a fight was to break out, there could be some massive team fight potential. I think that ward there snuck through and actually saw the Wukong on the bot side. Now they're going to be playing extra careful, knowing the Wukong is there. But it's all about where the information goes from here on. We know that the Viego is topside because we have the observer view, but they still have no idea where Wukong is or if he has backed yet. Playing extra disciplined here behind the close to their tower. Too hard, doing a lot of damage to the topside tower, and they're trying to look to take this one before they have taken that one before Froggy Style is able to take anything on their side.
Is there something ironic about Viego buying his own sword?
I mean, definitely can be said that way, but now Shin is going to taunt in onto the Swain. He misses just a little bit, but the flash knockup from the Wukong is going to net a kill onto the Zoe, and this is a good proactive play. They have some response in the mid lane, and Zoe was able to pick up a kill here. Unfortunately, the drag's not up for a minute and 10 seconds, and they're going to have to force mid into 3 members of Insomnia, which is going to be very difficult to do.
That's the problem. The biggest, hardest thing to master about Swain is if your damage is coming from outside your bubble, from your R, there's not a whole lot you can do, because Swain is really good into melee champions. He plays very well into tanks, but against champions like Zoe and like Xayah, whose range is so high, it's very, very hard for him to get, those conquer stacks, those procs off his R. Well played by FS to find that pick.
Yes, indeed. They do expend a couple of ultimates for it, and even a flash from the Wukong. But they do take down the Swain and halt that CS lead that he had. But it will be Froggy Style trying to set up for this next Drake that's available in 15 seconds. They do have the Shin TP available, not the ulti. And Too Hard actually has TP available on his side as well. There's a bit of a vision war going on here between Froggy Style and ISM near the drag, but we do see an immediate TP down from the Shin. So they will just have Set push towards the top side, and with Drake up, I would say that your best bet here is just to look for the immediate kill on it and then maybe push into a team fight. Zoe is still not necessarily here, and now Set comes in and Wukong goes into the back line. A nice knock away from the Alistar, and now Set is on top of the Xayah, which would not knock up a lot more here. Ashe actually lands the kill onto the Shin. Shield trying to knock people away. Baruka King doing damage, killing Packin on the back end. Trying to say that 3 times fast as Ashe picks up the double kill onto the Alistar. Ultimately a 2 for 2, but is it going to be enough to net this dragon here? Both junglers, or excuse me, only one jungler left alive. They want to look for a re-engage. The sleepy trouble bubble lands onto the Braum, and you're not going to be able to keep Zoe in place if you are the Set. A flash for a flash, but this one's not even Zoe's real one. As Xayah, now getting shielded by Fuse, is going to look to go back in. Damage done onto Set, and a good second engage here makes Froggy Style Moon garner this dragon.
Yeah, Set was just kind of flexing his dominance a little bit. He's a very hard champion to outmaneuver sometimes. He's playing very well front to back, zoning off the Zoe for a lot of that, but eventually he just stays a little too long, as does the rest of ISM. They get caught out by the Shin. As soon as he comes up, he's like, guys, I have ult, stay in this fight, and we can win this. And that's exactly what happens. Just really well played by FS to basically stall it out long enough for Shin to respawn. And we got to see a little more from ISM going forward.
Yeah, sir did get his flash blown almost immediately after that. Baruka did almost land a sleepy trouble bubble that would have resulted in his death had he actually not flashed. But Baruka's sitting with a stolen flash, just walking around, getting his farm in a more forward sense. He's able to lessen the farm gap. Unfortunately for Fuse in the top side, he is not able to do so. He does have 4 kills, 2 sets, 1, so that does help the discrepancy a little bit. But like we said before, Fuse is not really worried about getting farm, getting ahead himself. It's more of what he can do for his team. And he's already started to augment into that tankiness. He has the Frostfire Gauntlet, and he already has a Bramble Vest. That's going to stop most of what the Set and the Swain want to do, healing a bunch back, and even some of what the Ashe wants to do because she decided to go, I always call it cringe bow, but Immortal Shield bow.
So I wanted to ask about this very important question that I was talking about earlier, if we don't have a fight here, but...
And it looks like they're not going to give you that timing. Packin does get knocked up by Shield, and Shield still wants to go in. The taunt should come out here from the Shin after the TP finishes, and Smurfdon is going to kill Packin. The taunt actually locks up the Braum. Hydrus falls. Fuse picking up another kill here, and unfortunately, the Viego goes in on the clone, so it will be a 4-for-0. Baron coming up, and your Silver Scrapes prediction looking like you're clairvoyant at this time.
Yeah, what can I say? I mean, I've never missed a prediction at this point. If the drag one does not count because that's not an actual prediction. So I just think FS is perfectly executing this how I envisioned they would. I knew Swain would have problems into Xayah Zoe, especially later, because it's just he has to be in melee range pretty much. He's ranged, but he's melee range. For him to be effective, he needs to be in melee range of people. And unfortunately, Zoe and Xayah are just doing too well at zoning him off. So he's not really able to get their damage off. And other than that, all they have is Ashe, whose primary use is slows at this point. I mean, she's not able to keep up with the damage from the Xayah and the Zoe and the Wukong. So right now, it's going to be really tough for ISM to come back, I feel. They definitely can. The Viego is definitely one of those characters who can pentakill very easily if he gets enough resets. So we'll see if they do come back in this game. My money's on that Viego as the reason.
While we have another little bit of a lull state before another fight breaks out, what was that question that you wanted to ask? The all-important question.
Oh yeah, so the sword that Viego uses that he bought right now, is that the one in Valorant?
That is the one in Valorant. That is the Blade of the Ruined King. In Valorant, he has many colorways, but in this game, obviously, there's only one true king color, and that is purple. Fuse said he wants to join this, as most of the members of Froggy Style are adorned in purple, knocking up everyone as shield, and this fight might already be over. Sword's gonna pop his ulti and try to kite away, but they still haven't netted a kill on either side yet. Too Hard looking very, very low. The ult does come out of Packin, but it will not be enough to kill, and he will die. Fuse on a killing spree, takes down the Set, and then on the backside of that, Smurfdon picks off Nikope on the Ashe, and every single member of Froggy Style still alive. Every single member of Froggy Style still wearing this Baron buff. They're going to push down mid here, and they have the power to take multiple towers. They still have this cannon minion as well. Fuse rather tanky, not really going to quit at this moment. Ashura still alive, playing just behind the gate. Sword healing up off of the Wolves. They will decide to back off. Drake up in just 13 seconds. They're going to seal a majority of these camps away in the bot side jungle and then look for the Drake here.
Panda, do you hear what I'm hearing?
I'm not sure I do.
I think I hear a Silver Scrapes in the distance. Man. I think I hear it. I think we might see it.
14-4, 3K gold lead, and a stolen Cloud Drake! Yo, the Silver Scrapes just got a little bit further away, didn't they?
Yeah, it's just fading away a little bit, but, you know, honestly, if you want to get some momentum back in your game, if you want to keep your, once you start losing a lot of fights, your team gets into that tilt FF mindset where they don't like they think they can't win, so they start playing differently. If you want to steal some of that back, you steal an objective. That gets your team hyped. They're like, hey, he stole that. That's our win con now. We can win this game because we just stole a dragon. And it just gets your team hyped up. That's one of the best things you can do when you're really far behind to kind of reinvigorate your team. I really like seeing that from Pack, and heads up play from him, and the excellent use of the swing W.
Yeah, but all of that aside, they're still down a monumental amount, and Too Hard, again, might have bitten off more than he can chew as he is rooted up in place. A large chunk of damage does come out from the true damage, but Smurfdon is there to help clean it up, and Smurfdon on a rampage, 4-0 and 9 on this Wukong, looking like bread and butter for all of SFM. FSM, my goodness, tongue twister sometimes. It looks like Sword and Fuse will continue to push out this bot side as multiple members are now posturing around mid for both Froggy Style and Insomnia. And they're just going to look to take tower after tower. There's no real reason for them to play into Insomnia's game when they can just continue their turret taking abilities.
Yeah, and I think, again, Too Hard is going a little too hard on the set. He gets a lot of damage across. He bullied this Shin in lane. He was making tremendous trades. I just think that FS is really punishing the mispositioning. He doesn't have the Shin, so he's not able to get an effective R across all the time. The real question is if SF wins this game, they might choose blue side, which means they get first pick. And they would be able to choose the Shin if FS doesn't ban it. But that means they can't ban the Twitch. They can't ban the Jinx. They can't ban the Mordekaiser. They have to forego one of those. So I'm actually really interested to see how the next draft goes. Because if FS does close this game out. Because, if they do choose blue side, that could be really interesting.
Yes, and it looks like every member in this game wants the win. You see multiple members getting their second items across. Pack and finally picking up that Rylai's Crystal Scepter. And we see all of FSM posturing like they know this is a foregone conclusion. They're pushing up towards Baron. The deep vision is there for ISM. They have been doing well in the vision game this time, but I think FSM has truly stepped it up. And part of that just comes with the prowess that you have when you have such a nice frontliner like Alistar. And now Wukong getting a little bit more than he bargained for here as he's stunned up in place, but now Shin is here. Shutdown goes over and Wukong is stolen away. FS Sword trying to take more damage down, but unfortunately for him, he may not. Shutdown goes over to the Ashe. Shield is in a really bad spot. Asura has slain Shield. He was unable to finish his teleport there because the set walked up and pulled him out of it. I don't know if that was caught by most of you there, but now ISM looking for this Baron, and they've almost evened up the gold.
Yeah, heads up play by Too Hard there to basically deny the TP from Shin. That's one of the most. That's his entire kit, really, is to get into the fight that way. And honestly, if Shin's there, it might be a different story. Really, really well played. I think Wukong sent it really too hard. He got 2 flashes out. I think they should have backed off of that. You got 2 summoner spells. Now the next fight you have should be 1. But unfortunately, they didn't pan out that way. FS is going to be really careful about how they play this. Their lead is very, very slim. They're not as far ahead as they might feel or think because of the scoreboard. Sometimes you see that 15-7 and you think, hey, we have over double their kills. So, we're strong. But in reality, this game is much more even when it comes to items than you'd like to think. You have to be very careful about taking bad fights.
Yeah, and if they do this in a bad manner, they may lose more than just the Drake here. Every single member of ISM is touting that Baron, I do believe. If Set has it, then they definitely do. But this fight is one that, if I'm FSM, I'm not necessarily forcing this. I'm not trying 100% to take this fight. Every single member is wearing Baron. You're kind of already poked out because of the way Ashe is positioning. But Shield says, hey, we can still look for this. I know I'm half health, but I still have my ultimate available. I have Hex Flash coming up soon, and I think we can take this Drake. Sleepy Trouble Bubble does land onto the Braum, and Fuse frontlining here since Shield's been chunked out a good bit. But now it's all about how quickly they can go in, how quickly they can win this fight. The posturing here does actually help FSM as they want this to last longer. Packin Drowsy pulls out the stopwatch. And now the Ashe ulti onto the Xayah might be all that they bargained for. Xayah does get the shield from the Shin, but it's not going to be enough. A full Guardian Angel proc does come through, and Xayah is absolutely dead. All of FSM is retreating. Their main damage dealer gone. They're going to have to back up.
Red team has slain.
It's not good if you're FSM. You know, Xayah built the GA. I don't know how good that is because, you know, in these team fights, if your GA's popped, you're almost certainly going to die instantly like you did there. I would have liked to see a little more damage rather than a GA. But it's just really weird how they funneled out of that with, Viego.
Viego biting off a little bit more than he can chew right here. Bruka King getting a lot of help from his teammates, but now Too Hard and Hydrus are here to help as well. Not going to result in anything too major, and like I said before, FSM positioning around that drag did save them a lot of time on this Baron. I believe it is nearly timed out, and it's pretty big for them to only have lost their ADC. Obviously, you would rather not lost anyone and garnered the Drake, but nevertheless, they do stave off a more dangerous push here.
Panda.
Yes.
The silver scrapes is fading away. I hear it.
No.
I hear it going away.
Don't
FS
be.
FS needs to regroup here, right? Have a mental reset. You know, we lost a lot of momentum. In terms of gold, you're practically even now. ISM has a advantage when it comes to dragons. Right now, you just want to focus up and position well in these fights. Xayah is a key member of your team to peel. They just took too much poke damage. I think they were playing for Zoe to get a bubble, and that's why they kept like hovering around in that fight. But if Zoe doesn't land a bubble in like the first 10 seconds, you're just going to eat too much poke damage from Swain, from the Ashe Ws. It's just not worth it at that point. So honestly, you should either just give at that point, or you should just go full force all in front to back. So Xayah can start laying damage down. Because Xayah can't really poke with Zoe, with Swain, with Ashe, as well as they can. So if FS wants to steal some of this momentum away from ISM, they're going to have to slow it down and play these fights a little better position-wise.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you as we look at this next position of everyone in the game. Baron up in just under a minute and 35 seconds now. Most of ISM is posturing towards this top side. He's the only one on the bot side, but Too Hard's looking to fight him. He does manage to land a lot of damage early on here. That Bork and Gore Drinker combo doing a good chunk. We do see the redemption bought by Fuse here. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands onto Braum, but the turret's already gone, and now the TP's coming out from the set, and they go on to Nikopay here, but it's not going to be enough. They don't have enough to kill him, and now Wukong might just be dead to rights. Asura does pick up the kill. Too Hard onto Sword underneath the tower. Sword is gone. Too Hard fighting against two members of FSM, and it's not going to be enough, currently speaking, as he finally does fall. Shield under tower, knocks all three members up. Bruka King with a saving shot onto Nikopay. And now Insomnia has to retreat. Only the support and the jungler left. The shield blocks the Q from Bruka King rather. And the only one to live from that fight is the Shura for the side of ISM.
That was a slaughter fest on both sides. I thought for sure at the beginning of that fight, FS had lost the fight, but they just managed to pull back really well. You know, I thought once Xayah went down, the fight was pretty much over, but, you know, the rest of ISM was so far separated from attacking the Wukong. They blew so much on pinning that Wukong down, like the Ashar and other, like the Braum abilities. So overall, FS just played that fight really, really well, and ISM was just a little too far separated. I think if they want to win this game, they gotta keep together a little more, not get too spaced out from their big boys on the team.
And this is a bit of a desperation Baron. You know that multiple members of ISM are not up yet, and we're gonna have to see if they are able to take this one. They are. No steal out of anyone on ISM. I thought that was also a cringe flash, but it was just the flash that was stolen by Zoe. Actually, just expended there. I was also pausing
okay.
for a second. But it looks like Cloud Soul is up in just under 25 seconds. And it looks like ISM definitely wants this soul. It would be great for them, seeing as multiple members of their team, when they pop that R button, they want to go fast. Braum, Nico Pay, Packin, even Too Hard, they're all looking for it. Now Shield's going in. He does manage to get the knock up on a couple of people, but the huge shielding on Set. Packin doing so much by going golden here, and Set slams into the wholeality of FSM. Now Ashura going to finish off a freeze here. No, multiple members of ISM find the kills across the board. Packin still going on to Fuse. A double kill for Nico, and this might be all she wrote. Fuse dies here, shut down over to Packin. And if ISM does have the push here, the timers are so long for Froggy Style, this might just be it.
Man, it's I think I was incorrect on the Silver Scrapes, Panda. I gotta say, I was wrong about the Swain. I did not initially like the Swain pick because I think it's a very hard champion to pull off. But, you know, having the Rylai's and the Leandri stack, it just does so much for you in team fights. And just congratulations to ISM. They've won the grand finals. This is crazy. What do you think, Panda?
I mean, this has been such an amazing series, such an amazing playoffs, such an amazing season for multiple people, for multiple organizations in what we've seen over the course of the season. I am so excited to crown our winner here. ISM did a fantastic job. They literally initially lost in the upper bracket against FSM, blowing a 2-1 lead, and they were looking like they were about to do the same thing again, but eventually fought back in this game, and I gotta say, this was a fantastic showing.
It was such a fun game to watch. I mean, if you remember the last series between these two teams, it was a game 5, and FS did so well early, and ISM almost clawed their way back into the game. Almost, I think they actually evened out the gold graph, even though they were so far behind at one point. That just goes to show you, ISM, no matter how far they are behind, they are never out of the game, ever. I mean, at one point this game, I think it was, 15-4 or something like that? And then Swain had stole the dragon, and they just steal a lot of momentum back. They're just really good at, when they're so far behind, they still take good fights. It was very fun series and playoff altogether. Just great games, and I'm happy to see ISM come out on top.
We got to give a shout out to the losers here. Froggy Style has played well all season. They got to the finals. They did their thing. But unfortunately, ISM are victorious. They are our grand final champions. And when we return from this short break, we will have all of ISM, including...
Are we going to do that?
Including
we're going to do the MVP first?
We're going to do MVP when we introduce them. We will be back shortly. Please stick here with us as we crown our grand finals champions, Insomnia Gaming. Hello and welcome back. We have ISM here with us, and not even they know who we've chosen as the finals MVP, but it will be coming shortly. We're going to put that on another pause, build the suspense. First, there was a burning question that Tucker had to ask, and I'm going to let him ask that before we get into anything else.
Yeah, I had to mention this because when we interviewed you guys from the last series, I can't remember who it was. Do you remember who it was, Panda?
Was me that
It
made
was
you
you,
3-1
Pat.
call.
I knew. Did you think we were going to ask you about this?
Yeah.
Because I said something in the break between the second and third game, or no, the third and fourth game when it was 2-1. I was like, if ISM wins this game, their prediction would be exactly correct down to the game because you said 3-1, and not only did you say 3-1, you said you would throw the first game.
Yep.
So I thought that was hilarious. Did you guys ever like talk any about that and like say, oh, is it? I actually said it would be 3-1. We 3-1 them, or were you guys dialed in? How are you guys feeling?
I'm feeling awesome right now. I don't know about my teammates, but yeah.
I mean, you guys all played really, really well. Great showing. That was the. Do you want me to go ahead and ask my questions, Panda? Or
No. I gotta go ahead and give it out.
All right.
We do have the runner-up, and that would be the man himself, Packin. You were the second in what we thought was going to be the MVP, but the actual finals MVP is Mr. Melee Jinx Range himself, Nicope, takes
No
the
way.
finals MVP trophy. You get your certificate, you get your $20 gift card for McDonald's
And the
Playhouse, and the clout. Good job, man. We saw you play the Jinx. We said, hey, even if he keeps getting this, he's just playing so well on it. Even in the game that you guys were behind, game one, you absolutely turned it around because of you and with the help of Packin and the team. But you were just the shining beacon in every single game. Even in this last game, I mean, you went 5-3-9 on Ashe. You got pushed off of your comfort. They 3-banned you, or essentially 2-banned, and then, pushed you down one with an extra, sort of steal away, or an extra sort of, pick away. But you still were able to facilitate and play a very good game against what was touted as the #1 bot lane in the league. And shout out goes to you, and shout out goes to Hydra for helping step in and playing support there when you guys were down one. But congratulations on the MVP, Nicope.
Thanks, man. Means a lot.
Heck yeah. Well, Tucker's going to go ahead and ask his questions, and I have some questions to follow up. And we're going to let you guys go celebrate. You guys are the Raven League official champions, Insomnia Gaming, man.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Congratulations, guys, and congratulations, Nicope, on your finals MVP. One of the reasons I voted for you for the finals MVP was because you play a lot of these late game characters. Your Twitch almost gets banned every game. When you don't get banned, you play it blind. And then when you don't get your Twitch, you end up playing Jinx. And even though they know you're going to play Jinx most time, you still manage to find a way to scale into late game. How do you go about, like when you're playing those characters who aren't very useful early, how do you go about like staying alive and not losing lane so hard so you're able to be that capable hyper carry at the end?
I guess it's because back in like 2 years ago or something, I used to play a lot of top, but I was in a really high elo team and I was stuck plat 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was playing against masters all the time, so I just hugged my turret the entire game. And I'm kind of used to it, so that's what I do.
Yeah, I could definitely see how you could learn that from top lane because top lane is top lane.
It's
you do
rough.
a lot of sitting under tower. And speaking of top lane, another person I want to point out, Too Hard, you have been excellent this series and this playoff. I really think your top lane performance kind of goes under the radar a lot of times because a lot of times you're playing stuff like the Shen, or you're playing like sometimes we get to see you on the Darius, but a lot of times you're playing these blind matchups that aren't too fun. But you're always playing for your team. You're always playing for, like, you build redemption on Shen because you know, like, your job this game is to ult the Corki or something and to keep him alive and to use your taunt. Do you have, like, something you would say to other maybe competitive top laners who struggle with just being it. How do you manage to like keep your sanity when you can't fight in a lane, like when the Fiora game? How do you just know like I can't fight this person, I have to sack this whole wave? How do you deal with that as a top laner?
I love winning. So when I know that my team can carry, because I know them and I know that my mid laner and my EDC is very good, I just play very safe, and I try to play very safe at least, and I just get carried away. So yes, that's pretty much what I do. I try to play for the team. I know I'm not always a carry, and I accept to not be the center of the world.
Yeah, and I mean you've done that really well, and probably if there was like a trophy or something for best team player, best role player, you're one of the best in my opinion in terms of top lane. I mean, you're exactly what you want from a top laner. When you're ahead, you push it. When you're behind, you play for your team. That's excellent work from you. Some other people I want to mention, Ashura and Hydrus. I know you guys, Ashura, you subbed in for the jungle, and Hydrus, you're not on jungle this week. You're actually on support. First off, Hydrus, how was it like? Like you've had such a dominant run on the jungle throughout the earlier part of the playoff. Was you comfortable going to the bot lane with Nikope? Was you ready to play support? How much practice did you have for this?
Actually, I had no practice. I didn't play bot lane in a long time, so it was a bit hard, but especially in the first game. But he
I
came
put him
back.
on Lulu duty.
Yeah. And he came back really fast. So the next game, the second and third game, I was playing Alistar, my best support, so I was feeling very comfortable. So it was pretty good, and I had some experience with Nikope because at the start of the league I was playing support too, so it was not that bad.
Yeah, and I mean, you had such a dominant showing on jungle, so I knew it was to say you had no practice going into support, and you guys were going against what was voted on as the best bot laner and support of the league. So that's very impressive for you to do that well. I want to point out Shura. I know you subbed in. How was it like? How was the did you have much practice in the jungle with them, or like was this like an emergency sub in? How did that go?
I already subbed at the start of the season when we made all the changes of our team. We changed the roster, everything, and all the players were changed because someone in our team couldn't play anymore in the league, so we changed the roster entirely. And I played jungle with them at first because they were searching for a jungle. And finally they found a support and they sent Hydra in jungle. And I think that works really well for them.
Yeah, I think you played really well, especially as a sub to come into the finals. Congratulations to you. It was a very good performance against Froggy Style Moon, one of our best teams in the league. And my last thing I want to say to our finals MVP, Nikope, I know you were getting a lot of maybe indirect flame, you want to say about it, and you ended up persevering against the best bot lane in the league, or that was what it was voted on, and you kind of made an upset. How does that feel? Do you have anything to say to the FS bot laners you played against, and do you have any words to give?
I'm gonna have to say they were all bark, no bite, to be honest.
All right, short and sweet. I like it. That's all I had, Panda. Congratulations, you guys. You guys played well, deserving of the finals, of the grand finals trophy. Good job to everyone, and congratulations to Nikope on finals MVP.
Thanks, man.
I just have 2 questions to ask. My first question is a very, very simple one. What do they put in the water where you're from? Because you went from playing top to jungle to support. You just literally did it all, man. I've watched you over the course of the season pop off, and every single time I get more and more surprised by what you can do. I believe the Alistar game was like 0-2-28 or something like that, 0-2-22. It was absolutely amazing. And then in the last game on Braum, you went 0-3-14. It's just... you had such a good showing. And I mean, Nikope was making it a little bit easy on you because he did have such a good showing on the Jinx as well. But even in this last game, you guys got beat up in the bot lane a little bit early, and then you eventually were able to subdue Froggy Style and push back with your team. But you were instrumental in blocking out some of this damage that came in. You were instrumental in, you know, being that front line with your team. You and Ashura in game 2 and 3, pretty much alone, were the sole front line, with Too Hard being able to save whoever, you know, got low out of you two, or save whoever got low out of the carries. And it was just such a good performance. How do you think you played?
I think I play good, but I could have done better. I made many mistakes that Mac have made Packen mad a little bit. Like yesterday when I came out of the Kindred U. But without that, I think I played well and did my job to make my team win the game.
Man, I got to give it to you guys. My last question is, we've seen so much harping back and forth between the teams. OMT, Cog Midas, FSM, Insomnia, FSS. Everyone had something to say about the playoffs. You guys eventually just took over. You won it all. You're the champions. What do you have to proclaim to the league? What do you want to say to them? And what are your final closing remarks on this season?
I think it's the question for the captain.
Yeah. I was thinking 2 seconds. My English is not very good. Yeah. I really liked the league. It was fun. We played every day, every week, and we had a wonderful time. Only change you could maybe do is if we could not play against the same team 6 times in 10 weeks, but
yeah,
except that, it was very good.
Awesome. We appreciate that. That problem has been fixed, actually, as we launch our season number 2. It will start in September and end in December. Signups are actually open as soon as this stream closes, actually. We'll be getting the sheet out there, and we would love for you guys to come back. Obviously, Packin, you can't go win Rookie of the Split anymore, as you were, you know, obviously a veteran by the time this ended and one of the main focal points of the winning championship team. But we would love to see you guys come back and love to see you guys defend your title here. And if that's all you guys have to say, that's how we're going to wrap this one up. Insomnia Gaming is our grand champion, taking first place in the Raven Gaming League. We hope everyone had a great time. We hope everyone enjoyed the league. And we hope everyone has a great day. Good luck in Clash, and see you later.
I was just want to say thank you for the casting and for the time you put in this league. It was very, very nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart, man. I did this a lot on my own back, but had some great people behind me and some great people beside me, like Tucky here, and we're just glad you guys enjoyed it, for real. You guys have a great day, and we will catch y'all all next season, starting September 26th, and we'll see y'all then. Peace.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Congratulations, guys.
Ciao.
You aren't good for me. About to change it all. About to cut you